to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe to toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Five. It is Monday. It is the 22nd of December, and it is the analysis, the post-game, post-chaos analysis that always ensues Tottenham Hotspur. Unbelievable weekend of, I don't know, just insights and action to get through. Not sure whether the title of the show is correct. Did we shoot ourselves in the foot? Did we beat ourselves against a very, very poor Liverpool? We've also got the background noise regarding Paratici maybe leaving us 3 months into his new joint director of football role, right as the season is about to move into the January transfer window. It's chaos at Tottenham. We wouldn't have it any other way, or maybe we would, but at least content's got a content. Guys, hope you're all happy and healthy. Please do smash the like button for me on the video as you come in. Take your shoes off. You know the rules. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop the comments. Let us know your thoughts and be respectful as we go through it. Before I come to the lads and find out how they're doing, we also have a sponsor today to bring to your attention. It's, of course, OK Jersey. Search for OK Jersey on Google and find all of your latest and greatest deals on athleisure wear, sports clubber, football shirts, etc. You know the drill. Find them, get yourself whatever you want. Unbelievable prices, but you also get an additional 8% off at checkout using code 5. Thank you to them. Thank you to the chat. And we are lastly also always available on the podcast platform. So if it's Spotify that you want, or if it's Apple Pods or Amazon, we are there. Just look for Spurs 5 or go into the description and find the link and give us a follow and a review. Guys, what a weekend. Another loss. Lubo, how are you, mate? How are you first? You okay, buddy?
Excuse me, yeah, all good, thanks. Got to get rid of this cough. Can't get to see a doctor till next Monday.
It's not the cough that carries you off, it's the coffin they carry you off in. So be careful. Get down to that doctor.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, all good, reasonably. Another defeat.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Stel, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get over Johnny's tongue twister there. That was good. That was an interesting tongue twister. Yeah, just everything I've said for the past 3 months, I'm just going to repeat it tonight. So bring it on. See everyone smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Choo choo.
Johnny, my man, just spent the last hour and a half with you, having a bit of a raging debate there. How are you, my man?
Listen, look, Tottenham, the Grinch club of Christmas, guaranteed to bring you despair and misery. Yeah, it's what we're used to. But hey, you know, you can still enjoy Christmas. Just forget about football. Luckily for us, we're not playing on Christmas Day. We're not playing on Boxing Day. So you're going to have at least 5 days to go and enjoy yourselves and forget about all the misery and save it for Palace away.
Yeah, which is a really tough game. Let's be entirely honest. Let's start, guys. There's a lot of things to get through tonight. Obviously, there's transfer news, views, and clues. There's obviously the Paratici debacle. There's the game, the sendings off, the breakdown of all of that. But Luba, I'll start with you, mate. We had a week. It was the first week we've had a full week of full training to be able to try and implement some version of on-the-ball tactics, some sort of vision.
Yep.
A lot of the excuses or the explanations as to why it is that we've not really seen too much of anything that's identifiable has been down to not enough games. 2 days traveling, 2 days playing, 2 days recovering. When do you train? We had a full week. We went into the game against Liverpool with a familiar team, a familiar system formation. Talk me through how you thought that went. 1 week's worth of training, was it enough to see something more, or were you happy with what you saw? Let me know.
The team surprised me a little bit, purely because two things. Firstly, people will be surprised I'd have played Palhinha instead of Gray with Benson Collett. I thought that was the right two to play for this match, and I'd have played Richie because Richie hates Liverpool with a vengeance, and he always seems to score against them. So I would have put Richie up top. I would have played Moani wide, and I think probably would have played Simmons behind instead of Bergveld. So I would have made those 3 changes. I think the rest of the team pitched as well. Poor first half an hour, wasn't it? Both sides, I thought, were poor.
Someone in a space capsule.
I thought decompression. I thought someone's decompression.
It's
Someone's flushing the chain on our season, I think.
you're gonna see the shadow on Sean's shoulder in them. It's a space.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Hacker's gonna hack.
And
That was weird.
Simmons got himself sent off. I can't stand this rule. It's very interesting with the Simmons sending off. The referee didn't think it was a red card. And funny enough, I'm reading Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, Phil Jones, none of whom thought today that warranted a sending off. They thought it was a yellow. And this brings the whole problem of, for me, having different referees in different places. And we're now seeing a referee on pitch being re-refereed off the pitch. You know, the guy was 5 yards away when Simmons made that tackle, and you're at a point now, where he showed flexibility, the ref, and the guy in VAR didn't. It's like saying, you know, you go into a tackle, it was a clumsy tackle, didn't need to make it. You don't need to give them an opportunity to send you off, and that's where Simmons went wrong. There was no point. The ball had gone. It was nowhere near it. But if you make a clumsy, accidental tackle and you catch someone, and he hardly caught Van Dijk. Van Dijk was up within the minute. You know, do you say that an accident is to be punished in the same way as a bad foul with intent? And to me, I think they've got it completely wrong. The authorities. I think the fact that we've got a referee saying yellow and a guy in Stockley Park saying red is crazy. You know, surely all the refs are taught the new rules at the beginning of every season. I'm sure somebody from the Referees Association goes around sits down with all the refs in one room pre-season and says, right, these are the rule changes. This is how we're looking at it. There's got to be consistency. There really does. There has to be consistency. And, you know, Simmons put his hand up and apologised, but the game was finished. And, you know, refs are too quick to brandish red cards. You know, you got 60,000 people coming out for entertainment that have spent shed loads of money with the tickets, and the referee and this guy in Stockley Park's decided just to ruin the game, make it uncompetitive in a situation where he has actually gone against the referee's decision. I just think there's so much inconsistency. And you look at last season when Van Dijk raked his studs down Solanke, nothing given at all. So there is no consistency, and it's really frustrating from that angle. A bit like Liverpool's second goal. You know, the guy's got his hands all over Romero, Ekitike. You know, if it's good enough for Van de Ven, who was actually pushed into the West Ham player early this season to have a foul given against him, then there should be a foul given against Ekitike as well. But again, there's no consistency with the refs. One ref says no, another ref says yes, and I think they've got to get their act together, because, you know, nobody knows where they stand with anything. And as for VAR, it looks like it's here to stay, unfortunately. But it's killing football. It's just killing it.
Lubo, just staying with you quickly. We're going to, we'll definitely talk. You know what I'll do then, actually? We'll come back to the rest of the game. It's a good intro point. Stel, I'll come to you on the Xavi Simmons, or the referee just generally, before we get into the actual Tottenham side of the game. At the stadium had decided within 5 minutes that the referee was against us. We didn't have the benefit of seeing any of the replays of any of the like the red card things. It felt to me, you were at the stadium as well, still. On reflection, was the red card justifiable? Also, Romero later on kicking himself for being petulant and sort of letting the moment get ahead of him. How influential was the referee is the question I'm asking in the outcome of that game?
Oh, he played a part. I don't think he's the reason we lost, but he played a significant part. For me, it was a red card. Xavi Simons, you didn't need to make that tackle that part of the pitch. Was it a slip or was it a poor tackle? I guess that's what the referee had to decide. But the law says if it's clumsy or reckless, I think it was reckless. It was a reckless tackle. I don't think he meant to hurt the player. He just got it wrong. He didn't need to go sliding in like that. At the end of the day, you're pressing the player. Press him. Why do you need to go lunging in? He opened up the conversation to be sent off. He got sent off. Romero, it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. He's on a yellow. He wins the free kick, right? We've won the free kick. That's not enough. He's got to kick him in front of the ref. It's like, how dumb do you want to be? So he deserved the red. What I will say, though, is Romero was probably the only one that was consistently in the referee's ear to say, are you taking the piss? Because there's a lot of other decisions that were just ridiculous. Even the bench got booked. Do you remember someone on our bench got booked? I'm sure the referee went over and said, yeah. So Romero's the only one on the pitch.
I thought it was Ben Davies, to be honest, but I wasn't sure. I thought it was someone that was on the bench.
I don't know if it was Frank, a coach, a player, but someone on the bench.
It wasn't Richarlison because he got a yellow at the end, so he could have got sent off. Did you imagine? Yellow on the pitch and he won yellow off the pitch. I thought it was Richie to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, someone had to try and get in the referee's ear. How many times do you look at Arsenal when they don't get a decision? They surround the referee, they hound the ref. Romero was the only one that was prepared to do it. Someone had to do it.
Because he's the captain, right? Because the rules dictate that the captain's the only person that's allowed to talk to the ref. It doesn't mean you can talk to them disrespectfully. It doesn't give you a license to be swearing and stuff, right? Like,
yeah, look, I don't know what
the Tottenham players were trying to pull him away, going, calm down. And he's like, no, you go away. I'm the captain. I can speak to the ref. But I think he maybe thought that license to speak overran into being rude, you know?
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably why the ref booked him. But the point is, he was the only one prepared to stand up for us. There was a couple of situations with Spence where Spence got punished. I'm thinking, how is that on Spence? It's the other player. I do think Ekitike did push Romero. I think it was a push on him for that goal that Ekitike scored. So I do believe both red cards were red cards. But I understand the frustration of Romero in the game. I get why he got to that stage. But unfortunately, if you're club captain, you can't get to that stage. And that's the reality of it. He's the captain. You can't do it. But no one else was prepared to do it. So I'm 50-50 with it all. Yeah. Do you know what? We've got a habit, though, of losing our heads as a team anyway. When it's going against us, we don't have that calmness. Even under Poch, the Battle of the Bridge, we're winning. We're beating Chelsea away. We completely lose the plot and it's chaos. So we've just got this habit of imploding. You know, we do it all the time. We did it with Ange against Chelsea again. We went down to 9 men. Just Udogie making a ridiculous lunging tackle we didn't need to make, and it cost us in that game as well. So we've got a habit of this. Basuma against Nottingham Forest, ridiculous tackle, he gets sent off. We do it all the time. We just
Basuma v Luton.
Yeah, Luton
Basuma against Luton. Yeah, we've just got a habit of when we're up against it or when it's not quite going our way with the refs, we lose the plot.
Johnny, just on that note, we at least around the YouTube space, everyone was saying before the game and all week, look, it's a tough game, but you've got a week to prepare. Like to see a little bit more in the way of what we're looking to do on the ball, but on top of that, not expecting huge amounts from the game. It's Liverpool, they're back. They seem like they're resurgence. As it turned out, they were terrible. We'll talk again specifically about the game in a minute. But just in terms of the energy that was displayed by the players, do you think that part of that build-up of aggression, energy that we obviously then lost our heads, was that because the players were so amped up before the game, feeling like they needed to show a level of effort that was commensurate with the problems that the fans have, right? It's not necessarily about the outcomes always. Obviously, the outcomes need to be better, but just it's unacceptable to be playing at home against big teams and not trying, not doing it like Chelsea, Arsenal, etc., Fulham. And so do you think that was like, if there hadn't been that pressure, not an excuse, but an explanation in part, if there hadn't been that pressure from the fans and the kind of the zeitgeist in the media to say that you guys have got to put on more of a show for the boys, for the guys in the stadium, that bubbled up into what was represented, which was just overly aggressive, overly involved in things, and then obviously, leading to the outcomes that we got with 2 sendings off.
Listen, look, we all know that the players had to show up for this game. The fans were not going to accept anything less than 100% commitment. And that's what we've asked for all season: fire, passion, commitment, bravery, all of those things that we asked for. The thing that concerned me at the start of the game, just before the game kicked off, Cuti Romero had his little mascot there. The mascot looked a little bit cold. He got a little jacket out for him and he put it over his shoulders and he zipped him up and he gave him a cuddle and he walked over to the halfway line. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. What's Cuti like? Where's the fire? Where's the power? I was expecting him to, get the picture. Come on, right? And a bit of fire and passion. So I thought, is this soft Romero? Is he chilled out for this game? I think the referee was absolutely abysmal. If he had a red Liverpool shirt on underneath, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to see some background checks on some of these. The decisions, even at the start of the game, shoulder to shoulder challenges in front of me, like they wouldn't be given in a month of Sundays. I don't know if anyone watched the Chelsea Newcastle game earlier in the day.
Yeah, good game.
5 minutes before the end of the game, they'd made their substitutions. Newcastle were coming back. Trevor Chalobah stepped across Gordon, used his shoulder and stepped across him. It was a blatant penalty. Foot across, nothing given, right? Every time there was shoulder to shoulder, they were giving it to them. He was giving them every single decision. And I agree. I think the frustration just grew and grew and grew. I did a compilation video of the confrontation between the referee and Cuti Romero and its progression right through to him getting sent off. And, he's yellow. He's yellow.
Yeah, you called it throughout the game, didn't you? I saw your Instagram post. He's going to get sent off. He's getting wound up. It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. And there it is.
And there it is, right? And the problem for me was he expected a VAR decision. When the 2 hands went in the back, right, I shouted, that's a foul. You ain't got glasses. You wear glasses, mate. You can't see jack shit. What are you calling, right? But what happened was Romero ran to the referee to try and delay the referee in the hope that they would get a VAR before they restarted the game. There was no VAR. Why was there no VAR when there was a blatant, everyone was appealing for it?
Yeah, they didn't even go to VAR, did they? That's correct.
Even go to VAR. Are we going to get to a situation where players are going to try and delay the restart of a game in the hope that VAR will look at it? It didn't look at that, but it was happy to intervene in Xavi's yellow card, right, to turn it into a red, which changed the game. But they weren't willing to look at Ekitike's double-handed push on Romero. And Romero lost it, right? I understand that. But there is no excuse, nor can there be any excuse, for the kick-out, the David Beckham kick-out, the petulant kick-out after he won a free kick. I actually believe that he cost us the draw because I love Romero, but I think the momentum was so much with us.
Yeah.
Had he been on that pitch, we would have got I believe we would have got the equaliser. I do believe that. And I got to tell you, I thought the fan base were behind the players for the first time this season that I can remember. That's probably the best atmosphere I can remember this season. There wasn't the booing and when we went 2-0 down, there was some sort of acceptance of the fact that the players were trying. And I thought all in all, they respected it. So I was a bit shocked, Sean, when I came back and I started looking on X and all I said, this is on Thomas Frank, all of it.
We'll come to that, Johnny. We'll come to that in a minute. Yeah. Interesting that though, because like I said to you on the previous show just then, Johnny, I haven't actually taken any seconds since the game to look into the community. See what everyone's thinking. Lubo, just on the game though. So I started by asking you. We had a week's worth of preparation. Do you think there was at least signs there that with a little bit of more time that they had sort of figured out some patterns of play? In the last chat I was just on with Johnny, half the fan base was saying we were terrible until the last 20 minutes. I didn't feel that way. I thought Liverpool were really poor. I thought it was the worst Liverpool team I've seen for ages. And I thought that Tottenham had it, in 25 minutes, I said to the people that are next to me, I said, Thomas Frank really needs a victory at home against the big team. He needs like something for people to hang their hat on. And today it looks like this is the best opportunity that Tottenham could get to beat Liverpool in the league, not via some crazy bit of last minute luck like we did against Liverpool. Forget about all that. Just beat a team that's a big team, and then obviously it fell apart in the 30th minute, and then we had to change the game plan. But in the first 30 minutes before Xavi Simons' recklessness, were you seeing signs that the extra week on the training ground was at least allowing him to play some version of what Frank ball, if he's given enough time, might look like, or did you not see enough?
I don't know. I thought it was a very poor 30 minutes from both teams, to be honest with you. There was very little going on. We had a few attacks. They had one or two attacks. There wasn't that much that the keepers had to do. No. And you get a gauge on the amount of goalmouth action and the amount of saves that keepers make. I just feel that we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. I think we did on Saturday. The game was there to be won. Losing Simons, and whether the rights or wrongs of getting sent off, he didn't have to make the challenge. He could have just followed him back, jockeyed him back. Don't give the referee or Stockley Park a decision to make, and that hindered us greatly. At 0-0, 11 against 11, the game was there to be won. It was a shame. The last 20 minutes was much better. It was as though they ripped up his tactics and said, right, we're just going for it. Let's just play, and it was much better. They showed heart, they showed spirit, they showed some fight. It was unfortunately the game had gone by then, and listen, they're unlucky. Moani hit the bar, didn't he? Had that shot that came down onto the crossbar. That could have gone in. He needs
a goal so much, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he? He does. But by and by, for me, it was. I came out. I wasn't surprised at the result, to be honest.
What was the around you? Because I think we were all at the game, right? So, to me, I feel like the people in my section, I know, like they all kind of feel the way I do, which is it feels like the season's almost done. Even though we're still in one competition hasn't started yet, we're still doing okay in the Europe, and the Premier League is fairly tight. It feels like everyone is just like, the Champions League will finish where it finishes. We're not going to win that. The FA Cup is probably very difficult against Villa, and the league, it doesn't look like we're going to be really even chomping at the bit for European spots because we're inconsistent is the best word I can use.
Yeah, it is. It's
the same way you sit as well, Lubo. Yeah.
Yeah, average team, average results, average position in the table, average manager. I think the whole thing's average, to be honest, and that's where we are. I think from 2019.
Sorry, did you say average manager?
Yeah, I think this season, I think he started off very well. He's not doing so well.
Fair play to you.
He's not doing so well recently. He's average. Still we're 13th in the table.
No, fair play to you. I'm not knocking you.
Not turn around. If you apportion blame right the way through, then you got to say it's an average manager, average team. I mean, one.
So if he turns it around, would that mean that he's a good manager if he turns it around in the next 4 or 5 games?
Or will it mean that the players are actually? I'm not sure. Where is it you're sitting?
Clarity, just for clarity.
No,
the Lubo line moves quite a lot.
No, listen. No, you are allowed to change your take on things.
Of course.
As the season goes on, we made a good start. Terrific. It was a good start. We won 3 out of the first 4 league games. You know, the last 8 league games, we've got 5 points. So you look at that and you think, you know, you just go through the season. I mean, Man City was the performance of the season so far. Following week against Bournemouth were dreadful. You know, you come back, where are we now? Wolves or West Ham and Brighton were good. Following week, Wolves was dreadful. Leeds was good. Villa, okay, we lost to a couple of worldies. Bodo and Monaco were dreadful. Everton was a good result. Newcastle, I think we played well without getting the result. Chelsea was dreadful. United, good comeback. Arsenal was dreadful. PSG was a good performance. Fulham was dreadful. It's up and down like a yo-yo. So you've got to say that it's inconsistent. The whole thing is
inconsistent.
up and down.
The output's not inconsistent. The output right now is very much one way. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. In terms of the league games, the
league is looking really cool.
We're heading down, and they've got to stop the rots. The next 6 games, you know, you've got Palace, Brentford, Sunderland, Bournemouth, West Ham, Burnley, and then after that, I think you've got, what do you got after that? You've got City, you've got Newcastle,
Villa,
City, United, Newcastle, Arsenal. Not going to be easy.
Yeah. Stel, you mentioned backstage that you found a clip of yourself making a prediction a few weeks ago, was it a few months ago? And then you're now making another prediction, which I want to hear.
Yeah, listen, when I said it, I didn't think it would 100% come true. It did. I wish I put money on it. I said, round about the Monaco game, we've got 10 Premier League games to go. If we carry on like this, I don't see how Spurs win more than 2 games. And I looked at it all. We've literally won 2 games in the last 10 Premier League games. So the way I'm looking at it now, I think it's going to get worse. I look at the next 12 games. I think we win 3 max. I don't see who we're going to beat. The way we're playing, players we're picking.
What 3 are they? Still, what's because I can't remember the fixes. What's still what sort of?
I think we're going to beat Burnley away. I think we'll beat West Ham at home. Yeah, and then there'll be 1 random win, like when we play City.
Maybe Brentford away, maybe. Yeah,
there'll be. Oh no, I don't think we're going to beat Brentford away. I think at home they're decent. I think like a City at home, with their bogey team, something crazy. I hope we don't beat City because we need City to win the title. Fucking hell, I mean.
Still, I think I read Sunderland have lost 7 players to the AFCON. I was reading.
Yeah, we could beat Sunderland. Maybe it's them. But I just don't see us winning more than 3 and 12 in the next. Because first of all, I don't think Frank's going to turn this around playing like this. I don't think we're going to have this transfer window that everyone thinks we're going to have. I think we're actually going to have a very difficult window where. And you know what? I was actually thinking about this today. We want Semenyo's and Savinios and Lookman's, established top players. But they probably don't want to come to us. The reality is they probably look at Spurs, not just Frank, the current squad, the manager, the way the club is run. They look at it and think, why would I touch you lot?
Agreed.
Yep.
Which then goes back to what a lot of people were saying before. Mbuemo, Wisa, Damsgaard, Tony, who were they before Frank turned them into what they are?
Or did Frank turn them into what they were? Or were they always destined to be great players?
If you saw what they were like initially, I mean, it's not just those 4. You know, Ollie Watkins and some of the other players that have come through there. I saw them, you know.
Right, so my point is, Johnny, is, if we as a club are going to go down this route of signing Savinios, Semenyo's, all these top players, then I want a manager that works with top players and wins with top players. It's proven. Otherwise, what everyone said Frank can do is, why don't we go and find players that Frank can then develop? Because that's what everyone built him up to be.
But like,
you're not given the time in the Premier League at a team like Tottenham to develop the players.
We can't attract the top players.
I 100% hear you on that.
Semenyo said to us, see you later, not interested. I'd rather go Man United, who you beat in the Champions League in the Europa final. I'd rather go to them.
Every single person that's noticed Bournemouth's rise has failed to witness their fall recently.
Correct. This is what we were talking about.
Because when smaller teams and managers outperform, they start to get noticed. But when they regress back to the mean, people don't notice it. The managers don't notice it. The fans don't notice it. And the pressure
It's a different pressure. It's a different
100%. So like you can go and do the database coaching the best players and get them better. If you're at Brentford, if you're at Brighton, if you're at Bournemouth, if you're at Fulham, you can do that sort of stuff. At Tottenham Hotspur, I think at Villa, at Newcastle, and all those teams above, you don't get the time. But fans are just it's an entirely different patience model.
Everyone praised Frank for developing players. Now he's at Spurs. If we're not going to develop players and we're going to go down, we've got to buy the best, then bring in a manager that does that. Has
everybody praise Graham Potter?
Like a Mourinho.
Graham Potter was at Brighton. Sorry, John, one second. Graham Potter was at Brighton. He was the guy that was given the first sort of credit for Cucurella, McAllister, Caicedo, and one or two others. He goes to Chelsea, different set of expectation, and fails. He goes to West Ham, probably a different set of expectation because West Ham fans are a little bit unusual. But he failed there. Like, what's to say that Thomas Frank at Brentford over 7 years earned enough wins in the locker so if he wins 3 games, people notice. If he loses the next 3, no one pays attention to it. And I don't think that to me is why whoever the next manager is for Tottenham, it can't be one of the guys that have taken a smaller team to the also-rans. You need someone that's, I'm not saying
like Conte,
not a Conte, because I don't think that Tottenham operate in that way. I think a manager that has done it and won it somewhere, but
we've had them, sure.
Do you know, Johnny? I'll tell you what's happened to us right now. We built this £1 billion stadium, this grand project, and we've constantly announced record profits, record turnover. So we've sent a message to the world: we're big. We are big. That's the message we've sent. So the expectation then is from the fans: start bringing in big. But the issue is we're not doing that. So if we're not going to do what we've given the perception that we are, then you need to look at what Brentford and what Brighton do and freaking replicate that model and inject it with steroids and go down an elite scouting route, which we're also not doing. So because we're in limbo of, are we going to go big or are we going to be elite scouting? We're neither.
We should be doing both.
Managers that come in, they don't fit the remit because we don't know what the remit is. This is what's happening.
All of the players that emerged from Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth, etc. Do you think that they get the same opportunities at a team like Tottenham with a fan base that's impatient and a manager that knows that he's only got 18 months, sometimes less, to be able to show what he's worth to maintain his own position? Like if Mikey Moore was at Brighton, he would have had more minutes, right? Jamie Donnelly would have had more minutes if he was at a Fulham or whatever else. But at Tottenham, there's an expectation, and the fans are just so impatient that you're not going to get those minutes to nurture these players.
The expectation comes from building a state-of-the-art 60,000-seater stadium, having record revenue, and charging expensive tickets. We have given the perception that we are that. So therefore, if we're not going to
getting to the Champions League final, where everyone suddenly thought we were big time when we really weren't. And also the inability for the majority of fans to realize that there's other things to consider, that if you're trying to be big boys, you have to go and compete with the big boys for all the best players. And it's not yes, money might have been a problem in the past, like the inability to show the ambition to pay the wages. But for the vast majority of players that Tottenham would have wanted to have got that can command 250 grand a week, if Tottenham are looking at them, so are United or Cities, Chelsea, all that stuff, and then they don't.
Sean, it's not just the Champions League final. 1 minute, it's not just the Champions League final. Johnny, I'll say this, and you come in. Since 2008, since Harry Redknapp, up until Conte, we have consistently got in the Champions League top 4. Redknapp got it twice, but then one of them we lost because Chelsea won the Champions League and they knocked us out of it. But we got top 4. Pochettino got it loads of times. Conte came in and got it. We have been in that elite group for a long time. So forget just the Champions League.
We never did very well in them. Though. We were a league stage.
But the point is, in the Premier League, we have been a top 4 club a heck of a lot since 2008. So that's why we as fans feel we should be buying top 4 players, because That's where we've been for like.
Yes, but
we did have top four players. We did have top four players, but the difference is trying to move to the next level, which is where you get the 90% of all trophies won by the same five
Sean,
teams.
we signed NGs and Nkudus and Dan Jumas. They're not
We
top four
also signed
players.
Ericssons and Berbatovs and Garrett. Like there's lots of
players.
players.
Back in the day, I was just about to say that motion, that moment that you're talking about, Stel, and I totally agree with you. When we were in that sphere of top four and challenging, was the moment when had we invested, we were the team that could have attracted a Semenyo, a Savinho, and all these other players. We were in that position. Unfortunately, now you want to spend that money when you're in 11th place and you've been 17th place and you're not performing. Those players are interested now. That's the problem. The ship has almost sailed.
Correct.
That we were at. And now we're swimming against the tide, trying to attract the players that 4 years ago, we wouldn't have had any trouble attracting, but we weren't willing to spend the money on them.
We couldn't spend the money 6 years ago. There was no money to spend.
I didn't say 6 years ago. I said 3 or 4 years ago. You know, when we were progressing through, and we were.
In the 3 years that I've been doing content, in the 3 years I've been doing, or 4 years I've been doing content, the names that I always hear about the players that coulda, woulda, shoulda, were Jack Grealish and Bruno Fernandes. Who else were these players that we were linked with that not spending the money?
Have the so the Jack Grealish and the Bruno Fernandes are prime examples of who we were and what we were about. We could have had Jack Grealish, but we tried to play hardball because the club were in trouble.
Not any other team in the world football valued him at what Aston Villa valued him at.
Hang on, Sean. Right, then we had Bruno Fernandes, and we weren't prepared to pay the 5 million, and we ended up with Gedson Fernandes, right?
So that's okay. Even if you agree, that's two. I don't agree on the Jack Grealish thing, but fine. Two.
Sean, Grealish was done.
Right.
The deal was done at 18 million. It was done. Finished. Right. Jack Grealish's dad came out in the press a few months ago and told us this.
You know, the thing is, look, the ship has sailed.
And Ruben Diaz, throw Ruben Diaz in as well, who Jose wanted 3 months after the COVID season ran late. The transfer window was that much later. We could have had Ruben Diaz in the September, October before City came in. City didn't come in for another 3 months, and then they bought him and they paid the 63 million. It's just been one opportunity after.
Don't say one opportunity.
Everyone's saying Dybala. Sean, Dybala. Everyone's saying Dybala. They're right
because Dybala was the ever-present name. So you've named 5 players in 15 years that were.
Sean.
How do Aston Villa do it then? How does Aston Villa do it?
No, listen. You're missing the point. Okay, if it was like if there was a consistent theme that was not more than just occasional names here and there, and for 4 years the debates I've had about Daniel. I'm not trying to get on Daniel Levy debate. I'm just saying that the reality is that even if you pay the money, even if you pay the wages, and everyone says that the wages are the problem, to a degree, I'll say it's easier if you pay the salaries. At the end of the day, though, the draw is always the biggest factor. Semenyo didn't not come to Spurs or has walked away from Tottenham because, as some people are saying, he can't work with Thomas Frank. No, it's because there's other teams that have got a far higher propensity to win trophies that are after him. And even if you offered him 300 grand a week, if Man City are going to offer him 250 or Liverpool are going to offer him 280 or whatever else, he's going to choose them because he knows he's going to win more trophies there. That's the reality of the situation that we're in.
You're right, Sean, but that's the point I'm trying to make here. 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when we were considered a contender, a top four, right? No, to
win the Premier League, to challenge for the Champions League.
Right, hang on a second. Sean, what I'm saying is we were at the first sitting, right? We were competing at the first sitting, right?
No, we weren't.
Right, well, we were, Sean.
For what? For the best players.
Sean, we were in a better position 3 or 4 years ago to sign a player as Conte. Than we were under Ange Postecoglou and as we are under Thomas Frank, because our position, our star has fallen. We have consistently fallen since the 2019 final.
Well, 100%.
Yes, we punched above our station in 2019. I totally agree with you. No one expected that. But what I'm saying to you is that we had an opportunity when we were punching at a certain level, when we were the Aston Villa, we were ahead of Newcastle, we were ahead of Aston Villa, we were ahead of...
We were ahead of Aston Villa and Newcastle, but we were never ahead of
Liverpool, mate. We were ahead of Liverpool.
In the draw, you think there'd be a single player that would have chosen Tottenham over Liverpool?
There was a stage.
Can I ask you a question?
Last 4 years.
Can I ask you a question? After the 2019 Champions League final, we spent 120 million.
Yeah.
Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Sessegnon.
And Jack Clark.
I'm happy to say Ndombele was a fuck up. Okay, they do happen. It was a fuck up. You're not going to tell me Lo Celso was a marquee signing and we could have done better than that. And I know for a fact Ryan Sessegnon was a club signing because the coaches at Spurs have been looking at him and his brother since he was 10 years old at Fulham. It was a club signing that. Yeah. We were hot property. The Gooners were scared of us. Chelsea was scared of us. The world was talking about Poch and his team. No, what I'm saying is we could have attracted top players. Look what we did in that window.
What year are we talking about?
After we lost the Champions League final, we were hot property. Everyone was talking about us. 2019, the summer of 2019. And that
we just taken on £1 billion of debt.
But we spent 120 million pounds. We spent 120 million. Look how we spent it. Look how we spent it.
Elephant in the listen, 100%.
That's my point. That's my point. We could have got
100%. But there is
that's what Johnny's saying.
I will die on the hill that people who just analyse Tottenham Hotspur and say the reason why we don't do better is because of all things internal at Tottenham Hotspur. There is a massive slice of the conversation that no one ever wants to look at, which is the rules, the money in football, the inability to enforce rules, the draw, the propensity to win trophies, which everyone, if it was all about money, everyone would be in Saudi Arabia. They aren't. I'm not defending any of the shit show signings. I think Richarlison was a shit show. I think that Solanke was nowhere near worth it. Archie Gray. It could go on forever. Could go on forever about these things. Right? And a series of different directors of football have made those mistakes. But to sit there and make out the reason why we didn't essentially kick on is solely down to a lack of ambition. I think it's like a refusal. It's like a blinker.
It is all. Sorry, hang on. It is all about lack of ambition. This has been the problem for donkey's years at our club. We never stretch on FFP, PSR, whatever you want to call it. All the other clubs stretch. We have so much wiggle room. They've never taken the football side seriously. Maybe now they are. Maybe. Fingers crossed. These kids realise that their father and Levy have missed such a massive opportunity to earn big money with Spurs through football, because the biggest year of net profit they made was the year they got to Madrid and they made 138 million net profit. So you would have thought, just think about it. Football success correlates with financial success, but no.
Lubo, do you acknowledge, because we have this conversation all the time.
Yeah.
Do you even acknowledge that there is a pecking order in the politics of football?
Yes, but we were higher up the order
than who?
Like Johnny said, we were higher up.
We were higher up than we are now, for sure. I wouldn't.
We were above Arsenal. We finished above Arsenal 4 years in a row.
6 years, right? 6
nobody,
years.
Nobody wanted to
they made better signings. Years. They made better signings than us.
But so we finished above them for a period. Since records began, they've been more successful than Tottenham, right? So their fans would say that they just had a dip in that particular period and move forward, right? I'm not trying to sit there and have the argument about Arsenal and Tottenham, who's a bigger club, because I think that the stats are pretty clear on that.
Sure.
Are you telling me that if Tottenham Hotspur was to go in against Arsenal right now, it happened with Eze, it happened with
the left-sided. We're a mess. Now we're a mess. Now they're miles ahead of us.
How long of a period are you sitting there talking about? Because even in that
Harry Redknapp 2008, Sean, we have been an attractive club because we started getting Champions League football on a regular basis. We became part of the Big Six. We became part of the Big Six.
there has always been more attractive clubs than Tottenham. And if you want to go and get the world's best players, which is the argument we're having here, not trying to get the best up and coming players, but the world's best, then there's other teams that will be in for that. And if those other teams come in, you're going to play second fiddle in the pecking order.
But
I don't
Sean,
know. Like,
Sean, you have been saying, hold on a minute. You've been saying for weeks, go and get Lookman. Go and get Lookman. Are you telling me we can't get Lookman?
No, I'm saying that we can. The reason I'm saying go and get Lookman is because I think that's realistic. I don't think that's.
Okay, but we haven't been doing that. Sure, we haven't. We've been getting Tells and Odeberts and Yangs. We haven't been doing that. That's the argument. We haven't been doing that.
Tell, Odebert and Yang, like none of those players I was like mad about signing, but when they were here, I decided to back.
But that's what our club did.
Right.
That's the point.
Always say.
I hear you on that, but that's not the point. We're talking about getting the world's best player.
Point. But
well, no, we're talking about getting the world's best player. No, because we're talking about two different things.
I'm not saying world's best. I'm not saying world's best. I'm not saying world's best.
Hang on.
Guys, you telling me, Sean? You telling me we couldn't have bought Anthony Gordon from Everton for 50 million or 40 million, whatever it costs?
Do you remember that particular? We spoke about this in the last show. I was the only person in a massive Spurs WhatsApp.
Sean actually wanted him.
I wanted him, and everyone else said he's bang average. But then the next week we were linked to Richarlison. I said, "What are we doing here?" And everyone else said he's a baller. So I wanted
that's our club.
Our
club made that decision, not the fans.
No, but the point here, Sean, is if I could just say that we're not saying world club. We're not talking about going and buy, Vinicius Junior, right? Well, what we are saying is, what I'm trying to say here is, on a balanced argument, we feel that there was a moment in time where this club was capable of sitting down at a table and being in with a chance of signing a quality player, right? Sure. We have, since that time, where we didn't take that opportunity, I feel we have sunk and regressed to a point now where we are really struggling to attract the type of players that 3 or 4 years ago we probably would have been in with a good chance of signing. And, now I don't believe we are.
4 years, so post the Champions, so Conte, with the Conte period.
Yeah, I just think around there we could have. I'm not saying
we tried to get Alessandro Bastoni, right? So Bastoni's a good example.
I'm not saying Vinicius Juniors.
I'm not saying you are either. Bastoni.
No, we were never signing Bastoni.
We tried. We spent all summer trying to get him, and he went, "I'm not fucking leaving Inter to come to Tottenham." That was with the best manager.
We had this chat earning.
He's still there. He ain't ever leaving. He's not.
He's an example that you're remembering things differently to how they were.
We had this chat last show.
You can say that we are.
You can't get Bastoni. You don't go from Bastoni all the way down to Longley. There's got to be better there.
I agree with that.
There's got to be better there. We go from the 9 out of 10 to the 3 out of 10, and we ignore the 7s and the 8s.
We wanted Bastoni. Sorry, Luba, just on this point, we wanted Bastoni. We couldn't get a permanent signing of that caliber that we were happy with, so we got Longley on a loan, and then we ended up with Mickey van der Ven, who is now generally thought of as potentially going to be bigger and better than Bastoni anyway. So he was our eventual permanent signing in that position.
Sean, one second. But that cost us that era with Conte. When we had an elite manager, it cost us. That's the point. So if Conte is going to come in,
you couldn't get Bastoni.
So get a defender that is that one level below. Not Longley. Longley was a disaster. Shit show.
He plays for Atletico Madrid now. He didn't do too badly. But anyway, my point being that
we did the same with Mourinho. Mourinho wanted Skriniar. We couldn't get it done. We ended up with Joe Rodon. It was mental.
Still, the week after he wanted Ruben Diaz, he got Joe Rodon. A week later, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. This is what we talk about.
The drop off is too big.
It's massive. There's no ambition.
I hear you on those things, but you guys never reflect on the context of the other side of the coin, and you never also talk about the players that we did sign that ended up being successes.
No,
it's a one-way track of revisionism.
Sean, what we're not revising stuff. We're saying that right now we are not in the position. We have sunk from where we were, and our position to attract a higher caliber of
I
player.
agree with you, Johnny. That's your argument, but that's not these guys' arguments. These two are talking about
No,
the
I
history
agree
of
with
that.
you.
You're talking about
That's what
something
I
different,
said.
Johnny, and I agree with you. I agree with you, Johnny.
Sure, I mean, that's what I
100%.
started saying. I started saying, but Semenya doesn't want to come to us. We can't attract the players now. That's what I started
Still,
saying.
how disgraceful that our world-class star that we brought through the academy had to leave because of lack of ambition at this club. What a disgrace. What a shit
He left
show.
because he wanted to win trophies, mate.
It's ambition, Sean. That's ambition.
Lubo, you are like
We don't stretch it. We don't even have a go.
How many times have you had this conversation? You are like pathologically incapable of considering the level of competition in the Premier League. And it's different. There's a reason why 5 teams win everything, mate.
We're never in the game because we never have a go. There's no guarantee we're going to win anything, but we don't give ourselves a chance to compete because of the lack of ambition. And this is the problem.
So we didn't show ambition. So in the summer, we tried to sign Savinho, he got rejected. We tried to sign Eze, we lost out. We tried to sign God knows how many other players.
We don't get them, do
At what point does ambition become reality, mate? Because I think that you're like...
We just
Sean. Let me say this. I don't think we never buy good players. We do sign good players. We do. The issue is, for every good player, we sign either a potential or a dud. So what we end up doing is we have a squad of 5 good players, 5 maybes, and the rest are like, what have we done? We are very, very inconsistent in our approach. And now, the issue we've got now is, it's probably going to become more inconsistent because we're not going to attract the top players. Clearly now we are 8th or 9th in the pecking order, but at the same time, we haven't got that scouting system of Brighton or Brentford to then build. Yeah. So we are now in this abyss. We're in the abyss of the transfer world.
I completely agree with that point. I completely agree with Johnny's point as well. I just think that the general inability to consider, and big up to Saba for joining what has become the first 40 minutes of this stream has been quite quiet and
spicy. Come and join me.
And you know what? We'd love to bring in the spice to keep everyone happy. Saba, how are you, my man?
Drop some masala on this conversation, mate. A bit of vindaloo.
How are you, Sab?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I mean, eating lunch and having a beer with Lubo. What more can any man want for their Christmas? That's what I've had today.
Oh, nice.
Wow,
did you catch much of the last 15 minutes?
I've watched all of it. Yeah, I've watched all of it. Yeah. I was watching all of it.
So just to summarize where I'm at, I agree with Johnny that the reality is that we've dropped off the pecking 100%. I also agree with Stel that we're in a really weird situation with regards, we don't have the time, the patience, or the data model to be able to do that stuff, nor do we have the ability to draw the best players. But I'm not going to sit there and pretend like it was always just about a lack of ambition, because there's a pecking order that Lubo refuses to acknowledge, refuses to recognise that sometimes it's not as simple as just putting down the money. As we've seen, Saba, with Semenyo, right? The idea of just putting down the money, he said, I'm not going to go and join Tottenham anyway.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the situation?
Do you know what? I know Johnny wants me to bring some spice, but isn't it all of the above? Like, isn't it all of the above? What is wrong with Tottenham Hotspur? And what I'm learning more and more and more as I do this YouTube game is that there's not one opinion that is right. It's just an amalgamation of lots of shit at Tottenham Hotspur over the years. And I did a little bit of research earlier, right? And do you know what? The last 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 years has been even worse than I'd thought when I actually go in and do the research. Just to give you an indication, right? If you go back for the last 3 years from today, for the last 3 years from today, our win percentage in the Premier League is 39% over 3 years, right? If you go back over 2 years, our win percentage is 35%. And if you go back over the last year, our win percentage is 28%. Now, if this isn't a clear indication that the players aren't good enough, we can talk about the manager in a minute. But if this isn't a clear indication that we have bought terribly, the players aren't good enough, and we are going so far backwards, I don't know what is. And we were having this argument earlier, Lubo, like me and Luke were having this argument over a burger earlier. And we're saying, the one thing is I keep hearing how these players, someone else gets more out of them, and we should be getting more out of them. But when you actually look at them over the last 3 years, and the bulk of them have been here for that time, the data actually shows that should we be getting more out of them? Like it doesn't matter. That spans, by the way, Conte, Ange, and Frank. This is 3 different managers, 3 different sample sizes, and the data shows that we don't win many games. The data shows that we are, and as much as I don't want to just purely be data, my eyes show me that we've been buying poorly for years and years. The data shows we're not winning games. And my biggest issue, I'm about to piss off all of your viewers here, so sorry about this. Not that you guys care, right? Because it will give you numbers. I think we're at a stage where too many of our fans can't accept that we are not what we were years ago.
100%.
They cannot accept it. They talk every time we go into a game against somebody who's mid-table or bottom half, we go, we should be rolling these over. But I look at the squad and go, why should we be why? Who have we got in our team these days where you go, God, I bet they're scared of them. And as I said, I'm bored of Ange v Frank, Ange v Conte, Conte v Jose, Jose v Poch. I'm actually really bored of that argument now because we're going to be having this argument again in a year, right? This club is rotten from top to bottom. The whole thing is rotten. We started a brand new project in the summer, and already 2 of the major components of that, right, are leaving in Matt Wells and Paratici. Fans want the manager out. There's a 3rd component, right? We've got players that we can't attract because we're not what fans think we are. And believe it or not, putting the money down isn't the only thing that matters. Sean, I'm genuinely at a loss as a Spurs fan now. Forget me as a YouTuber. Forget me as a fan. I'm genuinely at a loss as to what we are, where we're going, where we've been heading for the last few years. And all I know right now is this squad, for me, other people rate it. I think this is one of the worst squads I've seen for 30-odd years. And before people in the chat go mad, right, we've had worse squads, but we've always had a couple of superstars that paper over that squad. Now we've got a very poor squad and no X factor. We have got... There is zero. Hang on, sorry, John. Let me just.
It's all right. Go on.
There is zero X factor in this team. There's no Modric. There's no Bale. There's no Berbatov. There's no Kane, Son. There is zero X factor anywhere on the park, and that is why when we go into these games and I think people going, "Oh, what are we expecting today?" Not a lot. Well, what are we? Not a lot, because I don't know who we're expecting when we're saying we should be going forward better against Liverpool. With who? Mawani don't score goals, right? Bergvall and Gray are kids, right? You've got Kudus, who's I really rate as a player, but not an actual goal scorer. Richarlison, who has scored a few goals but can't hold up a ball to save his life. I look at it and go, where is this expectation from fans coming from?
Sav, you're giving Frank a free pass here, man.
No, Stel, you're doing a Stelios. So I'm going to call people out now.
I'm calling out what you're doing. You're trying to deflect away from Frank.
Hang on, Stel, you're doing what you want to do.
Like, Sab, finish the point you were making, and then Johnny then wanted to come in first, and then Stel, you can come back.
Sure. If you actually listen to Stel's doing what he always does. If you actually listen to what I said, I didn't mention.
You always do.
Hang on, Sab, just finish the point. Finish the point you're making, mate, and then.
Hang on. What did I say? I said, forget whether this is Frank, whether this is Ange, whatever. This is what we keep doing. We keep making it about one man. And if I was wrong for making it about one man in the past, I'll apologize right now. But this isn't about excusing Frank. This is what we keep doing. People like Stel think if we change Frank right now, suddenly this squad should be beating everyone. And it's not. And it's not. The data has shown us for 3, 4, 5 years in a row, it's going like that. This is not a coincidence. So I'll say it again, because he's going to do this again. I don't care if Thomas Frank is sacked. I can't say it anymore. Okay. I don't care. But what is the answer?
Your argument is the players is the problem, right?
Yeah. The overall, but Sean, the overall problem is the players. The managers that are coming in, we blame, right? The managers that are coming in, we blame. No one's going to tell me a manager that's going to get these lot playing good football and winning as many games as they want, because Conte couldn't, Jose couldn't, Ange couldn't, Frank hasn't.
Conte finished fifth, and he was fifth when he got sacked.
Sure, because he had Kane, Son, and Kulusevski with 83 goal contributions.
Yeah. So my point was, which I was going to say, to sort of highlight what Sav was saying here. Throughout my life supporting Spurs, I've always had a hero. I've always had my Hoddle, my Waddle, right? My Gaza, right? My Ardiles, my Villa, my Berbatov, my Modric, my Van der Vaart, right? My Kane, my Son. I look at that team now and I don't see anyone that makes me excited, you know, in the realms of what we've had at the past, you know, as a club. You know, as Sava says, you know, we might not have had the best squad, we might not have done brilliant, but we had a couple of players that got you off your seat, that made it exciting, that made us do well in the cups or whatever. We had lower expectations back in those days. I look at us now, and I feel like we've missed that opportunity 3-4 years ago to really recruit top players. And now our star, let me just finish that. Now our star has sunk. We are now scrapping around trying to get players who 3 or 4 years ago we probably wouldn't even entertained. That's where I feel our star has fallen. And when we come as fans, how many players get you up off of your seat like they did in the past?
Not one.
I don't think of any, mate.
And when you're going out looking for when you're going out buying players and you're talking to players, come and play with Kane, come and play with Son.
Well, when before that, Berbatov, Modric, Bale, right?
Can't do that now, can they?
We don't have anyone, and now our star has fallen so far, right? And it's not about excusing Thomas Frank, because basically, if Thomas Frank doesn't match up, he's gonna go. He's going to be gone.
And Johnny, we'll be doing this. Johnny, this was my point. This isn't about excusing Frank. The data, though, over the last 3, 4, 5 years has not lied. Right, it is going that way. Whoever the manager is, it is going that way.
What was the other one, Sava? You gave it. What was it? 29 wins in 88 games.
It's 29 games in 29 wins in 83 games over 2 years. But it's 39%, 35%, 28%, and our average for the last 2 seasons is 15th in the table. So when people keep telling me, Johnny, that a new manager gets loads more out of these players, the average is not showing that that's the case.
Hang on. But like the 15th, sorry, I know Stel wanted to come in, but I'll maybe lead you in for this one, Stel. Ange Postecoglou took over Tottenham, got us there. Nuno is the comparison at Nottingham Forest. He got them finishing 5th or 6th, whenever it was. He then leaves. Ange comes in, and they drop down to 16th 18th in the league. He then gets sacked, and Sean Dyche has got them playing better football again. So this argument that
he's gone back to what works, Sean. So this is the thing. Hang on, Sean. Right, this is the thing.
But the manager has an impact. Is the point? The manager to sit there and say,
Sean, hang on. When you speak to the Forest fans, what Nuno found a formula that worked at Nottingham Forest for them. He found the formula that worked. Right. They then completely changed it when they went to the next manager. And it didn't work over an 8-game period. And they quickly went, no, let's get rid of that and go back to what works. We haven't got a manager who's going back to any type of formula that has worked for us. We haven't had a formula since Poch. We haven't had a way of playing since Poch. We haven't had that, have we?
Yeah, I just think that you're looking at the league table and then making an assumption that therefore the managers, if the trajectory is like this. But it's only been like this for the last 2 seasons. We finished 5th this season before last, right?
Based on the first
17th, and now we're sitting in 15th.
Sure. Hang on. If you're looking at trends, first 10 games, 26 points, going back to 2.5 years ago. After those 10 games, the next 28 games we finished 12th. Last season we finished 17th. Now the first 10 games ensured that we finished 5th. but from being top, we went to 5th. But the results over that period, from going from 1st to 5th, we were the 12th best in the league. So the trend was down after the first 10 games, which were great. Terrific. Hang on, Sean, you can't ignore them. But those 10 wins weren't intermingled within defeats and draws. They were like at the top, bang, first 10.
Yeah.
So you've had.
If you're dismissing them to make a point, though, that's the whole point of that argument.
Right,
but that's why I did 3 years, Lubo. That's why I did 3 years, not just 2.5.
No, I'm talking. Okay.
Go back 3 years. That includes the end of Conte's season as well, which seems to.
Conte was 5th when he got sacked, and he finished 8th.
Oh, he was 4th, Sean.
He was, but the trajectory of defeats. It was.
No, but the whole point, had he stayed, we might have carried on finishing 4th.
Yes.
Right. So therefore, the manager, so therefore the manager is responsible for putting the team out and getting them to play a certain way. To sit there and dismiss the point of the managers is like, what's the point of paying these guys $5
I'm just giving data over 3 years, and it doesn't lie. The 3 years, the trend is doing that.
Is it fair to say Harry, Poch, Jose, Conte, and then we've dived with Ange and Frank?
Massively.
The levels have dived with these two managers. We're being honest. You've got the 2 winners beforehand, and then you've got the 2 guys before that played great football.
But both of these, what is the consistent with both Ange and Frank?
So they're shit managers.
No. Sure, but what's okay? Hang on, Lubo. You're gonna like what I'm gonna say here, right? There is no. It started going like that under Conte. So we can say he was 5th when he was sacked, but it started going like that under Conte for whatever reason, deaths in the family, yada yada yada. Started going like that. Then it continued going like that, and it's continued going like that. But both of these last 2 managers, I can guarantee, both of them would have had the cracks papered over if they had a 35-40 goal Harry Kane in this football squad. And this is the first time in this last 2 years that we haven't had both. And this year's the first year we haven't had both. Last year and the year before was the first year we didn't have Kane. Is it a coincidence that the 3 years that we trend like that are the 3 years where we haven't had those guys? We've not replaced with quality. We haven't got goal scorers. It's not rocket science. 2
things can be true at the same time, mate. And I think still, I know you wanted to come in and you've been on mute since, but I think that you make a point. It is a dismissive, an attempt to dismiss the value of what a manager is there to do. Am I wrong, still?
No, I totally agree. Look, this team should not be 14th in the Premier League. It's better than 14th. Do I think it should be in the top 6? No, we're nowhere near those levels. Arsenal, City, Villa, Chelsea, Palace, probably not Newcastle, Liverpool. On the paper, you'd say they're all better than us. But to be 14th, it's weird because last season, everyone blamed Ange for us being so bad. The manager got the blame. Now it's, hold on, it's the players. We beat Leeds this year. Since we've beaten Leeds away, and I remember when we beat Leeds, a lot of fans were saying, oh, it's a really good result because they haven't lost so many games at home in a long time. We really broke that record. Since we've beaten Leeds, they've closed the gap to 3 to us. So they've improved since that game. We beat Everton 3-0. They were below us when we beat them. They've improved as the season goes on. So what I'm seeing is, even teams that were below us that we beat, because we should be beating them, they've improved somewhat. We've regressed.
He was a favourite for the chop, still.
Mate, Johnny, I just feel we are getting worse as the season goes on, and Frank has got no accountability. Let me just put one thing to you guys.
He has got accountability.
Let me ask you, but we constantly point the finger elsewhere. It's Porro's fault, it's Vicario's fault, it's Romero's fault.
These guys have been here. These guys have been here 3 or 4 years still.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. I'll let you finish your point. Let me finish my point, right?
Sure.
So I look at the game against Liverpool, and I look to the starting lineup, and the first thing that popped into my head was this when I saw it. Last year's top goal scorers on the bench, fine. This year's top goal scorer on the bench. Then I look at all the attacking options we've got. The top goal scorer this year benched, and then the joint top 3 goal scorers from attacking players, Artell and Johnson, they're on the bench. So we started the game with all our top attacking goal scorers on the bench. And I'm thinking, how are we going to score the goals then? Because Mwani, like I've said to you all, he's not a goal scorer that people think we are. Burke was starting out left wing. I think he was left wing. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's not going to score because he's not a left winger. So I look at some of the decisions the manager makes, and I'm thinking, do you know what? It's a shame you didn't start at least one of our top attacking goal scorers on the pitch, because Liverpool were there for the taking. We're going to blame the Simmons sending off. We're going to blame Romero. But did we do the best we could have in terms of actually having goal scorers on the pitch?
Still, and I'll tell you where this is a little bit disingenuous.
And it's still things like that gets ignored with Frank. His decision-making at times, I say, mate, you're part of the reason we're 14th. You're not the reason. You're not the reason we're 14th. You definitely are contributing to it the same way Ange contributed to it. That's my point.
Can I tell you where it's a little bit disingenuous? If he starts Brennan Johnson, the entire fan base goes crazy. He's shit. What's he doing?
Who's managing the club, they Sava? The manager of the fan?
No, I get it. No, I get it. But this is my point. My point is when he plays them, we complain. When he doesn't play them, we complain. No one's taking accountability away from Frank. I'm talking about, this is the thing.
I think fans are, Sava. I think fans
we only seem to be able to talk about the in the moment. I'm trying to talk about the bigger picture at this football club. As I've said, sack the manager. No one can tell me what is going to change if a new manager comes in and how that changes. Because I listened to you guys before I came on, right? And I think Johnny and Lubo were absolutely bang on the money. We have been buying worse and worse and worse for years and years and years. We have filled this. But we have filled this squad with mediocre, right? We have not replaced any of the top players with players that are even 50% capable to fill what we had before. So all of these things together, naturally, the team is going to go like that. Now, I tried to say, not Frank, not Ange, not Conte. I tried to look at the club and then it's, oh, you're defending Frank. I'm not. But right now, still, you tell me who you're looking at. When you say we should be beating this team and that team, which players in our squad are any of these teams scared of? When you say we should just rock up and beat Fulham, who are they scared of in the Spurs team? There's no one.
Sava, the way we go about our football is costing us games. Like, I look at Spurs on a weekly basis, continually trying to play out from the back, when I can see we're not good at it. But yet we pursue with it, and it causes us problems. It's why they scored their second goal. Romero trying to make a Hollywood pass out the back. The manager's job is to shut that stuff out. At the start of the season,
I asked you the other day, didn't I? So what are we good at? What style are we good at? Because we're not a possession-based team. We can't play out the back. We've got no one up front who holds the ball up. So please, everyone keeps going on about what we're not good at.
I thought we were good, Sava. I thought we were good when we actually had a double pivot. Forget what the fans say.
Yeah.
Frank quoted it. When we went the double pivot of Bentancur Paulinho, and we were a very, very aggressive, high-pressing team that choked teams and forced errors. I thought when Spurs did that in the first couple of games, we actually looked capable. We've gone away from that completely. Frank's either been
giving the other team possession, pressing them. Let the other team have possession and pressing them.
Yeah, abdicating the press, it hurts every team that does it. Every single team that presses well, executes it well, they end up with better outcomes. I understand that it's an exhausting strategy, but generally speaking, if you abdicate the press, you end up getting hurt. Not just Tottenham, other teams do it as well.
And what would happen if he did that?
If he did what?
We won games at the start of the season, didn't we?
I'm just saying, every single person has complained that we don't play good football, that we can't do it. I will say what I said in the summer.
Yeah, but we don't manage the club, Sava. We don't manage. He does.
I know I know we don't. But still, the thing is, I'm trying to have a conversation about Spurs in general, not about Thomas Frank or the manager. I am of the belief, I will only be able to find this out once he's sacked. I'm of the belief, whoever comes in and manages this football club, we are going to be back in the same position if we don't start buying players of quality. But on the same front, I agree with what you were saying before. What players of quality are going to come to Spurs right now? We are stuck in between a rock and a hard place. I genuinely don't know what the answer is. I genuinely don't care who manages this club at the moment, but the owners have ripped the heart and soul out of this club. They have not done what's best for the football. And this is, as I said, still, sorry for me, the fact that we are sitting here and arguing about Well, Brennan Johnson's not playing. Shows just how far we have fallen as a football club.
So can I ask you a
what
question
we're
then?
arguing about.
Let me ask you a question. If we were currently 8th in the table, if we were sitting 8th, do you think this conversation's happening?
Yes.
See,
Can I just
Our fans think we're so much better than we are still. So
I think if we were
narrative,
people were saying, do you know what? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. We just need to get to the January window. We're doing all right.
This narrative around like where we've fallen so far from where we were. When we got to where we were, how many of the players that were in that team were top draw signings that we got that we were punching above our weight to get in the first place? And how many of them were players that we bought that were younger, that came through and that rose up under our tutelage? Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, these guys weren't superstars that we beat in Liverpool or Chelsea or United or Arsenal to the punch for. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, they weren't superstars.
Well, no, they were good, solid season pros. Some of them, weren't they? We bought them in.
Season pros is not like a good, solid season pro now is not going to satisfy the fans, right? The team that we built, none of those, they weren't superstars. The Poch team was not. None of them were superstars that we brought in, though, were they? Even Sonny became a superstar at Tottenham.
Sean, when Alderweireld came in, we conceded about 25 goals less year on year. He was an absolute.
He wasn't a top draw player that we had to go toe to toe with.
Well, I think he was.
Wasn't. We didn't. No, mate. Like he came to us.
Lloris was the top keeper. Lloris had racked up about 40 games for France by the time he joined. He was superb. He was playing international football.
We didn't sign. Come on, like let's name me the players that we signed that were
good professionals. They were good professionals.
Let's move in the goalpost. You're talking about signing top stars now, whereas we didn't do that under Pochettino.
Sure. None of them were top players. None of them.
Exactly.
Some were good. None of them.
It built together. A good energy, a good unit that loved working for Pochettino. All of that stuff is possible still today. It's just about identifying the right players and creating some good energy. I think people dismiss the intangibles, the mentality, the confidence, the happiness, the environment, those things that because we can't see them, they're not chalked up on some stat database somewhere that we don't think of them as relevant. They're massively important. And right now, the environment is
the competition is harder now, though. Now the competition is harder. I will say that.
Harder for us. But the biggest problem for us now, we're looking at who's coming in. Who can we get to come in? We're ignoring the fact we have got assets in this club that want to leave. Mickey van der Ven does not, I believe, want to be at this club, right? Are we going to become the Tottenham Hotspur that can't hold on to the Berbatovs, and all the other players because we have sunk this low? And that's my fear. Not only can we not attract the top players, but we should be fearful that we will be losing our better players. That's my big fear at the moment. Great. And I don't think people are waking up. We have this sense of entitlement that we should be this pie in the state, in the league. We should be competing for the best players in the world. You're not in the real world, guys. You're not in the real world.
Johnny, as it stands, we're 14th. If we start losing players like Van der Ven, and not replacing them, we've got a relegation fight on our hands. We
didn't replace them, though, Lubo. That's the whole point. That's what Sava was saying. We have
years of neglect, years of bad signings and neglect.
When you lose Bale, you lose Modric. You're not telling me we sign the next Bale or the next potential Bale or the Modric, even like 10% less or 20% less. We have squandered the players. We have done it over and over and over again. You cannot sustain success if you keep selling your best assets and not replacing them with some sort of goals or some sort of creativity. We haven't done it.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, mate? Right? We're not going to attract the top players. Right?
No,
it's clear. We're continuously being laughed at every window now. Eze laughed at us. Yeah. Now Semenyo. Right. So we're not going to attract them. Okay.
Correct.
So the alternative is we've got to copy Brentford or Brighton's elite level scouting model. Okay?
Agreed.
We don't do that either. So right now, what do we do? Because we are sleepwalking into a relegation fight.
Get rid of Johan Lang. Get rid of Johan Lang.
He's staying. Paratici's going.
Yeah, right. So if Paratici's going, right, and Johan Lang is staying, we are fucked, right?
Completely.
We are fucked.
Completely.
Right, right, because I know without giving too much away, I know he's doing reverse data, right? It's fucking farce, right? And unless we embrace whether it's a Paul Mitchell, a Campos, or someone elite, if this Enoch Ball truly believes that Johan Yang is the way to go, you might as well pack up shop, pack up your season ticket, and sit at home and watch some fucking rugby or tiddlywinks, because we are fucked.
Johnny, do you know what I find
Last
funny?
week, Lubo said he's excited by the new structure, right?
Hang on, the kids, right? Listen, right? I'm talking.
We have a flip-flop. Everyone changes their mind, like they didn't say that last time. We have a flip-flop, trying to erase the past. Well, buddy, you're having a laugh.
No,
Lubo never said he's changed his mind on that, by the way.
Yeah, hang on.
He said he's changed his mind.
Clarity, guys, in the chat. That was not directed at me, right? What I would say to you is
probably me. It's probably me, that one.
Oh, I think it was. I'm not going to say it was, but what I must, as a caveat to that, I must say that what Paratici did do was change that infrastructure and the setup in the youth. Unfortunately, time waits for no man in this modern world, right? We ain't interested in waiting for the Lewis Barnetts, the Mikey Moores. We're not interested in waiting for them. We need gratification now. And unfortunately, this is where we are. I do think we do have players coming through that are quality. But right now, in the first team, I think we got a bunch of also ranks. We got to show.
Can I ask you a question, Johnny? Can I ask you a question? Right. And I want to ask this question to you and the viewers without this turning into, like it always does, an Ange v Frank thing, because it's so boring. Like, it just doesn't do anything. Right now, who is it that our fans think other teams are scared of playing against in our team? And secondly, when you look down the years in this last 6 years since that Poch team got dismantled, who have we actually replaced in any way, shape or form decent? Because I'm seeing that Son has been replaced by Tell and Odebert. Kane has been replaced by Richarlison and Solanke, right? Yeah. Moussa Dembele has still never been replaced 6 years down the line, and we've got 3 young centre mids and 2 older ones that are coming to the end of their careers. Basuma, who is whatever he is. We've not got a single fullback in the club, right? Spence, Porro and Adogi are all wing backs from trade, right? You've got one left-sided centre half. The goalkeeper's weak as piss. What is it that people are looking at that I'm not seeing in this squad that makes people go, we're a good team, or we've actually signed well in the last 5-6 years? Because I don't see it one bit.
I think we do have some good players.
A few, yep.
Yeah, we do have some good players. I'm not going to, slaughter the entire squad, but I'm right with you, Sava, right? It's like, how can you, the one thing Ange had in this year that he finished 5th was a firing Sonny, right? Even last year when he was shit, he got, 11 goals, 11 assists?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, 11 goals, 11 assists in his shittiest season.
All our top goal scorers were on the bench.
I'm just saying, look, guys, right?
It doesn't help, does it? It doesn't help.
Everyone on this panel loves his club, right? What else? What other reason could we have for spending hours, days, weeks, years talking and regurgitating this shit? But you have to come to the realization, as much as you're Tottenham till I die, you have to be a realist and wake up and smell the coffee. We ain't what we used to be.
Yeah, I think we're gone. I think we've gone to a very, very average football team. And this is why I say I was so pissed off in the summer. When I called it negligent, I was so pissed off. We had such an opportunity going into the Champions League.
4 players that walked into the first team.
Hang on, Sean, hang on. Right? We signed, but again, when you break it down, I said this in the summer, right? Mawani, we signed Mawani as a panic on the last day of the window because Solanke got injured. There was no plan for Mawani to come in, right?
A lot of players are
We've
signed
had-
on deadline day, though. That's what happens.
Yeah, but right. Let's put it this way. Spurs crept in the back door. I think we all agree to get Champions League. We weren't ready for Champions League. Do we all agree with that? This
Yes.
is not a Champions League team. We crept in.
Would you agree that we signed 4 players in that walk into our first team? Even if 2 of them are on loan, 4 players that are on.
But hang on, you're not getting my point, Sean. The point with this is we crept in the back door and we had an opportunity to build the squad. What we actually ended up doing, other than Paulinho, was just replacing players that can't play. So we didn't actually strengthen the squad. We replaced with players, for me, that weren't as good with the output. So whilst I rate Simmons, and I think he's going to need time to come good, we've replaced Maddison with someone who's not as good as Maddison yet. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We replaced Son, with nobody, but if you want to say Kudus the other side, but again, not a goal scorer. So you've lost.
On the one hand, though, Saba, you're saying there was no plan of action. Mawani there was no strategy there. I'm pretty sure that the initial plan that you would have hoped would have taken place in the months leading up to the end of the season wasn't to include having to replace Maddison because he got injured in the second pre-season game.
Sure.
Right? But things happen, right? Things happen. There's a reason why a lot of players do move in the final days of the window because opportunities present themselves. So you have to leave a little bit of the wiggle room for taking advantage of what presents itself. And as much as some people like to twist the story, like we've only signed 2 first-team players. At the end of the day, a loan for me, I don't agree with this narrative that a loan isn't the same as a permanent because all players should be a loan if you could make sure that you protect yourself with the option because you'd rather have a try before you buy. Mawani, if he was on a permanent deal, wouldn't have been any more of a better deal than him coming in as a loan player. But we have brought in 4 first-team players for our team. We were all calling for a 6.
Sure.
We got a 6. We were all calling for a Chabby type player when he signed. There was no reason for anyone to suddenly reverse engineer that. Kudus, everyone was delighted with. I'm not like the way that people reflect on the window now versus how it finished or how it was finishing.
Were you happy, Sean?
Hang on. You all had a go at me.
First team players in one window. Yes, I was happy with it.
You had a go at me because I reflected the exact same way in the summer.
I'm not having a go at you.
No. Hang on. But Sean, you haven't listened to my overall point of what I actually said, right? My point is you've replaced 4 players with 4 players. So once again, Tottenham haven't actually gone squad building. What we've done is what we always do. Someone goes out, someone comes in. We had the opportunity going into the Champions League to build, to add some depth, to get some really good players in. And we decided 2 loans, 2 permanent. We spent 110 million.
Why does the loan thing matter? I don't know why that gets.
The loan thing matters because 1, you don't know how long they're going to be there. So how can any manager build for the long term if you're bringing in loan? 2, we loaned Mawani when he hadn't even trained all summer. So he's coming in. We're at a deficit. Look, I'll say what I said. I've not changed my mind.
Why wouldn't he trained all summer? Where's that assumption coming from?
Well, it's not an assumption because PSG went to the thingy, the
World Club
Cup, and then when we played them in the World Club Cup game, what's his name? Luis Enrique turned around and said, "Yeah, we've only been back in training for 1 week." So they had 1 week's training before the season started. So look.
But you still train in the summer. Like he's a professional footballer. He's not going to like.
No, he didn't, Sean. No, he came to us completely undercooked. I don't think he'd done anything.
No, I hear that. I don't know if that's like Tottenham are not necessarily supposed to expect that. If you're a footballer, you shouldn't like just drop your levels and standards right over the summer.
I fully agree.
He was supposed to be moving to Juventus. This narrative that because he didn't move to Juve, therefore he didn't have a pre-season or didn't do any training. Again, that's a weird assumption to make. That's poor on his part if he's just let his standards drop.
But we didn't want him, did we?
By the way, you said that we lost 4, we replaced. There was no 6 at the football club. Paulinho was a signing that everybody was on board with. It's like there's so much revisionism that goes
hang on,
on.
This isn't revision. Hang on, think about it.
Frank's dropping Paulinho on a regular basis now.
Maddison goes out for the year, right? Simmons comes in, right? Son leaves, Kudus comes in, right? Solanke goes out injured, Mawani comes in. Paulinho is the only one that we've actually added that we didn't actually have. The point is this.
Yeah, but you need to you've only got, but you're making out like 4 players exiting and therefore 4 players coming into the problem. You've only got so many spots in the squad. In fact, we don't have anywhere over the cook with the.
But this is the point. A top club. This is my point. A top club, well run, would go and get rid of loads of these players in the summer and bring in loads of players ready for the Champions League. They would upskill. They would make themselves better. Look at Chelsea, right? In the summer window, Chelsea got rid of 15 players. 15 players for money, right? Because they realised we're no longer in the Conference League. We're in the Champions League. So they've got rid of 15, bought in better players. Good to go. Spurs, who went out? I said this in the summer. For me, I just thought this was a very lazy summer. I genuinely don't think it was.
Mate, I think if you're talking about 4 players coming in to immediately come into your first team, when everyone was saying enough kids, we've got enough kids now, let's go and improve the first team, and 4 players that are regulars in the first team, to me, that's like almost half of our first team has been changed.
Because they replaced 4 players that aren't there now. That's my point.
Yeah, but everybody said that Son was gone. Everybody said Son was gone. So you've replaced this, like Son should have left. Everyone's now changing their mind on that, or pretend like they didn't say it. Everybody wanted Sonny to go.
He should have been replaced.
We tried to replace him. We spent all the last month trying to get Savio, and then Thomas Frank said, "Hang on, let me finish my point." If Thomas Frank said, "If I can't get my player I want, I'd rather wait." Which is one of the few reasons why I want to give him a little bit of a reprieve, because I think it sets a horrendous precedent if you punish the guy who could have settled for something he didn't want that's better than what we have, and instead said, "I'll wait until January," and then because of that non-replacement, he gets fired because of poor performance. That sets a horrendous precedent. But we did try to get a 5th first-team player in.
Hang on, there's one thing we're missing here. Hang on 1 second, Safa. There's one thing that you're missing here. Xavi was our 4th choice, right? Morgan Gibbs-White, Morgan Rogers, Eze, Xavi. That's how it went, right? That's how it went. And Xavi came to us because Chelsea were deciding whether to go for Garnacho or Xavi. And in the end, they went for Garnacho, which suddenly he became free. So let's not make out it was fantastic recruiting. Our recruitment in the summer was nearly as embarrassing as Newcastle's constant rejection. We weren't far off of that, right? We managed to scrape through with, I was happy with Kudos, right? I was happy with the loan.
Everyone was, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I'm
Everyone was happy with all 4 of the signings. It's madness. It's honestly, to me, I don't know a single Tottenham fan that turned around and said, that is shit. Xavi's shit. Kudos is shit.
That's being made. It's not about those 4 signings. It's not about those 4 signings. It's about what more we needed to do. And the problem is, for as good as some of the players are that came in, we didn't replace the skill sets that have gone. We have all the problem is at Spurs, we have not replaced goal scorers with goal scorers. That's a huge issue. That's a huge issue at the club. If you are going to lose goal scorers,
they're injured. They haven't gone. Decky's injured. He'll be back. Madison's not gone.
I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is the players we've brought in players that aren't natural goal scorers. So at the moment, I don't look at any of these and go, yeah, you'll score a goal.
This isn't what fans were saying after the first 3 games, though. After the first 3 games, everyone was waxing lyrical about our style of play, the way we were set up, how good we were. As soon as we start losing, we change the conversation a bit.
Right, hang on, Sam. Do we not get to Christmas?
There's an excuse for everything. Everything.
That's not true. I said this in the summer.
But after the first 3 games, everyone said, look, this is what a coach does. Look how solid we are. The structure. We're hard to beat.
Still, you've changed the conversation. No one's talking about the structure. Listen to what the conversation
No, but that's what fans said. And then they deflected away from that to now talk about something different because it collapsed.
We were all saying, Sean, you were there, mate. We were talking about the fact that we desperately needed a quality left-sided winger, right? And
we tried to get it, but to criticise the club for trying and then offer it. Hang on, we tried to get Savio. We were looking at the rest of them. Lookman was on the option as well. He didn't want to come, and then he signed the new contract. We were trying to do it, and then Thomas Frank came out and said, "I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait."
Spurs went to Atalanta and asked to get Lookman on loan. They didn't want to pay a full transfer. Atalanta only
because Thomas Frank might have said, "I don't want him. I'm not sure I want him. So get me a loan deal. I don't want to commit to the player because maybe he's got the dickhead policy thing." So
that's what happened.
Again, to absolve Thomas, if Thomas Frank has literally come out and said, and I'm not, by the way, I don't criticize him for this. I think this, I said a minute ago, I think this is one of the reasons why you do need to give him a chance. But if he came out and said, if I can't get the guy I want, I don't want to settle, you can't then blame the club and say they didn't do enough when they tried and failed. And it happens. If you're punching up, this whole idea of like Tottenham should be able to go and get anyone they want, just pay the money. We were trying to pay an extortionate amount of money to Man City for Savio, far more than the player's worth. Rumours are that we've tried to offer 70 million euros. Bonkers money for that level of player, in my opinion. To sit there and say that the manager had no, and let me finish the point. To sit there and say that the manager had no direct involvement in what we did after that is crazy. He said himself he wanted to wait, and so we tried to get a fifth left winger in. We didn't get it done, but I remember a different ending to the window than everybody else.
We haven't got one left back. We haven't got one proper left winger. We've got the problem is it's just a mess.
So the problem is, Johnny, 10 years of bad recruitment policy you cannot put right in one summer. You just can't. There's so much to do here.
But the manager's going to be gone anyway. It's the manager's going to be gone. And then we'll have another manager who wants a different type of player. Just on that front, Lubo, news just come out. Radu Dragusin's return to Serie A is becoming increasingly concrete possibility as the January transfer window approaches. Roma have emerged as very serious suitors for the Tottenham defender, looking to bolster a backline that has lacked consistently this season. And that is from Tuta Mero Catalab.
We're not going to miss him, are we? He's barely played for us. I mean,
yeah, you watch, you'll go there and have, because he'll be playing in a proper system. He played in Italy at Genoa in a free with a, in a low block, not a fucking high line.
Johnny, I don't think he's crap. I'm just saying, I don't think we'll miss him because he's barely played for us. It's like you saying, "Oh, we've just sold Yang."
Oh yeah. But I mean, meanwhile, we've had a story that he's been so good that Real Madrid are looking at him.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'll just do some quick super chats, guys. I haven't done any of these so far. Just let me run through them. Thank you so much for everybody. Ulrika Kakar, big up to you. She says, "Football Inc. raid just for Stel." It's the name that cannot be mentioned. Appreciate you, Ulrika. Thank you very much. Sav, this is amazing. Big up to you, Sav. Really appreciate you. He says, Lubo feel like I've not seen you. Lubo, feel like I've not seen you for ages. On a football note, what on earth did we all do
wrong? That's meant to say wrong.
Wrong to deserve such a mess of a football club.
It all went wrong.
Something
wrong. That's who we're signing next.
There goes the monetization.
There you go. Done skis. I appreciate you, Seth. Thank you very much, mate. You know you don't need to do that stuff on here, but thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Lee Townsend says, "I want to see our player show the same enthusiasm against a relegation-threatened team." Do you think that Tottenham do turn up, or at least the effort and the energy can turn up against big clubs or certain clubs with certain players in it,
like Palace?
Like Palace, yeah.
It always goes wrong at Palace. Something always, just like Liverpool, something always goes bloody wrong.
I was there last season, went wrong. I think, yeah.
I bloody hope
when Tanganga got sent off, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Palace 3-0. We lost or something a couple of years ago.
Last year we lost. I can't remember. What was the score, Lubo? Was it the game?
Was it 1-0 last year?
1-0, I think. 1-0.
Yeah. Year before was the last.
No Romero. No Xavi Simons.
We won 2-0 in October, didn't we? That was the last of the 10 games. But
I did think it was interesting when you said earlier your next 10 games that you think Tottenham, or the next 10 games, what teams can we beat? And you immediately only pivoted to the relegation teams in the bottom 3.
Sean, I don't think we're winning more than 3 Premier League games in the next 12. I don't.
But would that change if there was a different manager at the helm?
Depends who.
Yeah, if Conte was in charge of this team, would he be able to get more blood from the stone?
I think defensively would be like a rock.
Football-wise,
everyone would complain. If football-wise, everyone would complain.
Now, can I ask you a question? Is the manager, because let's be honest, there's a large section of the fan base who want to get rid of Thomas Frank today, tomorrow, as soon as possible. Yet, in my mind, there aren't enough managers that I would want that are out there. I don't know if you're a Xavi fan that you would want Xavi. I don't know. But for me, this isn't a possession football exciting.
Johnny, if you sack Frank now, you can't bring in a project manager, a serial winner, none of that. If you sack Frank now, you have to bring a honeymoon manager who gets you like a nice 3-month bounce, and then it will dip at the end, but we'll end up mid-table, maybe 9th. No manager's going to come in and completely turn it around. But the issue we've got is, how many more losses can we keep sustaining like this? That's the problem we're going to be in, because we're going down and down and down. That has
summer. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But look, the thing for me, the summer is where all options are available. And for me, I think you back him, you reassess in the summer, and if it's as bad as it is now, he has to go. And there will be
how much can you back him in January, though? Realistically, who can we really bring in to back him? Do you think?
Can I just say, look, I think as Sav has said before, there are key positions. We don't have anyone that's good enough, right? So even if we were just buying those key positions that any manager would like to have, right? We need more. We need better legs in the middle of the park. We need a quality left-sided winger, right? And so what my point here would be is that come the summer, you've got your Nagelsmanns, you've got your Tommy Tuchels, you've got your Pochettinos. There's 5 or 6 quality managers that if Thomas Frank has not turned it round and we finish the season 14th, 13th, wherever we may be, or 17th, he has to go. But at least I think most of the fan base will be in appreciation that we would at last have settled, if we can attract them. And the ENIC are serious enough about backing said manager with serious money, not 100 million, serious money, then maybe we could have a manager that will take us forward rather than us treading water and going backwards. Right now,
which top manager's coming in, Johnny?
That's
seriously, what top manager is going to come and manage this football club?
Can we pick up that question after the super chat?
Sorry.
Danny Kiriakou, big up to you. Although terrible take, he says John and Sav are only ones speaking sense. If you're getting compliments from Danny Kiriakou, then
yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or not.
It's not a good thing necessarily.
Deluded.
It's like when my wife says you're right. I think, oh, what have I done wrong? Why?
Exactly.
You never say I'm right. Why? What's happened?
Ledley's knees, big up to you. He says, someone said to me, Spurs are becoming Everton, historically big club, paying big money for average players and remaining mid-table. Club is in quicksand. Just on that, though, it's about backing managers and giving them enough time because you think that it's always going to work out. Look at David Moyes. He spent 7 years there and didn't achieve very much at all. Big up to you. Thank you, Ledley's knees. Super Ellie Birds, big up to you. Really generous one, mate. Thank you very much. He says, the reason I spend my time watching you all is because of your passion and knowledge. Question, does any of the Spurs hierarchy actually listen to the fans who obviously are more passionate than the money guys?
The answer is categorically yes.
Well, yes. I think Thomas Frank, I think successive managers have actually changed the system because there's been pressure to do things and then shelved it 45 minutes later when it didn't work. The back three being the most notable example. But yeah, isn't that a concern, guys?
Well, they
were listening to what the fans want.
No, but they watch these channels. What I was going to say was, right, I was told categorically that hierarchy watch these channels to gauge an opinion, not just by watching and listening to us, but by looking at the chat and reading the chat. They have people that work to gauge opinion. Not that it's going to change anything, but they are more than aware, as I found out when I got a phone call or two over the last 18 months. So they do list, they do hear. Whether or not they change is open to bat. But certain things have changed in the fan base, but we got a long way to go.
Johnny, my friend's an Arsenal fan. He's an accountant, really successful, got a season ticket at Arsenal, one of the top tickets at the club. he said to me a year or two ago, do you know what you guys have done massively wrong as a club? I said, there's plenty I'd say, but he said to me, just looking at your club, you didn't strike when the iron was hot. That's what he said to me. And he's anti-Tottenham. He's a gooner, but he's a balanced individual. And he said to me, you didn't strike when the iron was hot. That's exactly his take.
That's exactly what we're saying, though, Stel, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sean, can I just answer Scott Amos? Scott, the kids have turned down 3 offers of intent in the last 3 months. I'm hoping that shows that they are serious about this club. If they're not, and they don't put the money up, and they're not ambitious for the football side, then it's finished. It's done. Because if they're not selling the club and they're not going to back managers, then we're going nowhere as a club. And at the moment, we're just heading down. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. As a fan, you've got to have hope. And if you haven't got hope, well, what is there? So
I've got nothing.
That's right. That's why I'm hoping that the Lewis kids will be different to Levy. Because maybe, just maybe.
No, they won't.
Kids, 63.
Mate, Joe Lewis's daughter, she looks like that. Mate, she looks like, you've seen Joe Lewis's daughter. She reminds me of that evil lady from the Goonies.
She's Joe Lewis in a wig. I still think it's Joe Lewis.
It's the woman. It's the woman from the Goonies.
Still, the one thing that's interesting is that they're putting a structure in place. They're not getting involved on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, I can't listen to this.
Hang on. Whether it's successful or not, time will tell. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know whether the people they're putting in are good enough or not. I have no idea. But at least they're trying to put people in. We'll see. Time will tell.
Ulrika says, I really shouldn't dial into this after a loss where we were the better team. Too much negativity for me, but I guess I'm just a happy clapper. Ulrika, it is what it is. It's Christmas time. There's always going to be something to talk about. And
we are the Grinch of Christmas, Ulrika.
Are you also clicking on the chat?
Huh? I brought it up because you're reading it and it wasn't on the screen.
Oh, it wasn't on the screen. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Ulrika, get back in the bath, get your bits wet, get the gin out, and relax in the bath, mate. This is Christmas. There's no Christmas at Spurs. You know that. Come on.
It's been cancelled.
Big up to Ulrika, though. Very generous tonight, as always. Thank you so much. Wiz Magic says, new managers changes nothing. Quality players, please.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of you guys are saying at the moment.
Can we do both?
Yeah, I want both as well. I don't think that Thomas Frank's the guy to back, to be honest. And LDM 1000 says, this 5 is the strongest Spurs lineup. ENIC out or nothing. This club is finished with ENIC, regardless of club changes. Also, Lang and Vinay, please go. We're going to come to that in the last.
Yes, I agree.
Big up to you, Anne. Thank you very much indeed. He's come back. Or Ian JD says the only reason people said this transfer window was any good is because the other transfer windows were so bad. Stop defending our recruitment.
Amen.
Relative improvement. You know,
relative, yeah.
Couldn't that same argument be leveled towards managers as well? Though I'm not sure.
But listen, we've had no relative replacement for Kane and Son. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, we agree.
And the Hotspur, big up to you, Danny says, last word of LWOL, last word of Lubo. Lubo, I'll give you the last word tonight in a minute or two when we finish this show. Big up to you. Big up to all of you. Thank you very much indeed. Please do smash the like button, guys. I haven't asked at all tonight. Please hit the subscribe as well and get over to all of the creators' channels and support them. Thanks, everybody. Guys, let's talk about this Paratici Vinay thing. We haven't really sort of gone through it in too much detail. Is he leaving? Is he the right guy, or is Lang the right guy? But more importantly than that, I want to hear your takes on whether or not it was always going to happen that these two were never going to work as a co-director of football. I had this argument with everyone back in September. It was never going to work out because Vinay took the easy path of not picking who was going to be whose boss and said, "Oh, you can both do a little bit of everything." These things don't work that way. It was never going to work. Too many chiefs. Do you believe he was going to go, Johnny? And
as I said to you, right, and I know this for a fact, that Fabio had no intentions of coming back if he was going to play second fiddle to Johan Lang or anybody in that, for that matter, in that position, because he was offered jobs where he was the head honcho. And I believe one of two things has happened. Either he's gone into the club and what was promised to him has not been fulfilled, i.e. he's still having to share with Lang. They have a totally different approach to recruitment. Or the second thing is players that have been presented by Fabio have not been accepted by the bro romance, which is unfortunately Johan Lang and Thomas Frank, brothers in arms, inseparable. I think that Fabio will come off second best. And third, my other thought that it could be a possibility is the fact that due to the second internal investigation that's taken place after the first one that brought in Charrington, they are looking into dealings that have been done by Daniel Levy over the period in time. And maybe, this is just a theory, right? There's no substance to this, that things have been found between Levy and Paratici's relationship that the ENIC didn't like, and therefore he's been forced out. I cannot understand why a guy who's been offered the AC Milan job, right, would turn that down, come back to Spurs and end up going to Fiorentina, who are going to be in Serie B next season. Makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Just maybe, Johnny, he's in a position where he's being overruled,
like
undermined, and not being able to do his own job properly. And he's got people who are worse than him with less ability.
Correct. Is my point. Exactly.
Yeah. So why would he hang around if Vinay can't see what's going on? He's meant to be overseeing it.
Because we've got a great new structure.
Well, there you go.
Can I say one thing short of this, right? I'm only joking, Luba, by the way. I'm just joking. God knows what the structure is going to be like. We'll find out. Can I just say, I don't know who's in control or in charge of anything at this club anymore. On the weekend, 80th minute, I turned around to my friends. I said, I'm off. I've seen enough. I very, very rarely leave early. I said, I'm done. 2-0. This is bollocks.
Sorry, you actually left on 80 minutes? Really?
No, wait, hear the story.
My son wanted to leave as well. I had an argument with him.
Oh, no, wait. Hear this story. So I'm walking. This will all relate to the point I'm going to make about Paratici. So we're walking. We spent 3 minutes saying goodbye to all the people around us. Merry Christmas, see you in the New Year, because there's no more home games, so we won't see the people around us for a while. We're walking out. We get to the bit of where you're actually exiting the terraces and you're going into the tunnel. Richarlison scores. Like, So now we're standing where that kind of disabled walkway is in the middle of the South Stand. We're standing there now watching it. I couldn't be bothered to go back to my seat. So 83rd minute, we're standing there watching the game. And this is what happened. A fight broke out in block 258. All the stewards ran over there to deal with it. This Rastafari next to me got into an absolute bust up with the stewards. He's properly having out. All the stewards are coming down to deal with him. And then Romero got sent off. It was an absolute shit show around me. At that point, we left, right? The stewards have lost control of the terraces. The captain's lost control of his team because he's got sent off. Frank's lost control of his decision-making because he's listening to the fans. The recruitment team's lost control of recruitment because Semenyo said no thank you and Paratici's off. Who's actually in control of anything at Tottenham? Because I'm telling you, the stewards ain't in control. Frank ain't in control. The captain ain't in control. And Paratici's not going to be in control. Who's in control of anything at this club? Guys, it's a circus. Paratici is another example of what's a circus this football club is right now. And I stood there and it all hit me in one go. I said, guys, let's just get out of it. And we walked out. Enough was enough, man. Enough was enough.
Well,
I've never seen anything like it. Shit show, shit show, shit show, shit show, shit show, shit show, everywhere. The whole thing, man.
This is our club. This is our club. This is what 25 years of neglect takes you to. There you have it, and there you have it.
This is our club, one and only.
Johnny, do you know who's in charge of recruitment? Does anyone know who's actually in charge of recruitment this January?
But can we be honest? It's so funny. We all sit here and go, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit. But then when I pointed out that the club's been going that way for years, I'm told, oh, you're just taking responsibility away from the manager. I'm not at all. The club is a shit show. The club is an absolute shit show, right? We are, whatever we think, we are in a position now where we're arguing. Every time we argue about who should play, who should start, whether we're arguing about which manager, whether we're arguing about what director of football, it's all shit versus shit. We're arguing about who should be in Lang or Paratici. Both of them built this squad. Lang and Paratici between them built this squad, right? I don't care for either of them. What I care about isn't Paratici, right? Just because we think Lang's crap doesn't mean we should keep Paratici. What I care about is less than 3 months after that this structure was put in place, we are changing again. That's what I care about. This isn't about should Paratici stay. We are changing the structure yet again. And Sean, me and you did a show about Paratici and Lang. One of the things you very clearly said to me was, this won't last. And I said, we're going to see. And here we are, 10 weeks, 9 weeks later going, it hasn't lasted. We can all blame, it's Lang and Frank. We can blame it's Vinay not doing this. It's Paratici wanting to go back to Italy. It's a shit show. It's a calamity. Because right now, again, and this is what I said, and Sean, you make the best point, right? This isn't about defending a manager. Right now, if you sat the manager, can ask the obvious question, backing on from Stell's point, we sat the manager right now, who's in charge of bringing in the new manager, and do we trust them? Who's in charge of the signings, and do we trust them? And this is what I mean. We keep saying, yeah. Who's in charge? What?
Sava, they all need to go. They all need to go.
No continuity.
The whole thing.
The whole thing is a mess. The whole thing is a mess.
That's we've replaced everyone.
That's why I said, when people are going, oh, you're defending Frank. I'm not. Sack him tomorrow. But this whole thing is a fucking shit show. The whole thing.
Can I ask you guys a question? Sava, can I ask you a question? I'm not doing this for sensationalism before people in the chat go, oh, this is over the top. I mean this. I genuinely mean this. I was doing a call-in show on another channel a couple of weeks ago. It was after we lost to Fulham. And this fan called in. He was actually quite a good, balanced kind of guy. And I said to him, so what's the solution? And he said to me, it needs to go dark. It needs to go really dark. Do you think we need to hit the absolute bottom of the barrel? I'm not going to say relegation, but do we need a seismic event at this club for it to really change, guys? Or we've had what?
We finished 17th last year. That's as bad as you can get.
How is relegation going to change? Like, if you think that if you guys genuinely think that the club,
no, I don't want it to happen, Sean. I'm saying, do you need like a seismic?
Do you think that Enoch is the biggest problem? And I can understand why a lot of people do. Relegation relegation won't be the catalyst for them to sell. Relegation will be the catalyst for us to be stripped of all of our talent at all, and we'll drop down for a season. We'll come straight back up. And
that's what I mean. A complete reset. That would be a reset.
Yeah, but Enoch wouldn't sell because we got relegated, because they'd be getting pennies in the pound on their valuation.
Right.
So all that would happen is we'd lose all of our players, and then we'd be coming back up, and we'd be like the worst position we've been in for decades. So
Liverpool
get relegated, and they came back and they smashed it.
Yeah, but still we weren't 800 million in debt.
Fair enough.
Massive difference. Massive.
Yeah, fair enough.
They cannot afford to go down. They cannot afford to go down. Seriously.
In terms of directors of football, though, so I'm just looking at something in the chat. In terms of the directors of football, if we were to look in a different direction, Stel, I know you've spoken about Ralf Rangnick. He's the Austrian football manager right now. He'll probably finish that in the summer.
I liked Ralf Rangnick, what he did with the Leipzig group, where he built a network to pull players from, feed them into the main queen bee of clubs, and he developed coaches to all play a similar way. And he discovered Klopp. Gegenpress was born, and I thought, do you know what? That's a philosophy. That's a culture. That's an identity. Someone like that. But for that to work, ENIC have got to say,
He wants ultimate control. He wants ultimate control.
Sean, it won't work unless that guy has got maximum control, because interference will be previous errors and previous mistakes creeping back into the new way. If we could do that, mate, I've got all the patience in the world.
There's too many new people at the football club for one of them to hand over ultimate control to somebody else. Right? They've all got their egos. They've all got their own.
Okay, but Sean, here's the problem.
We've got the City guy coming in. We got the City guy coming in. Have we not,
Johnny? It won't work.
He was a small cog in the overall City football group. He did very well, but he's not experienced to be able to take over.
He was there for a good number of years. Like, I would rather take someone who's 10 years, and I'm not talking about Scott Munn, who worked in fucking China. I'm talking about a guy who worked in the main state of the operation. Okay, look, unless I'm happy, I like Paratici, but if he's gone, I want Lang gone, and I want top. If we have intent, then bring in a Mitchell, bring in a Campos, bring in a Rangnick, bring someone of that quality. Otherwise, forget it.
I'm still just trying to understand. Like, for me right now, if it's true that Paratici is leaving the football club 3 months after coming back, after 3 years of loyalty being shown by Tottenham Hotspur, standing by the guy who cheated whilst he was in Juve, and like I say, he might not have filled his own pockets, but he essentially broke the rules and cheated to get to keep Juventus ahead of the curve or whatever else. For him to have had our loyalty for 3 years, to come back in to agree to the situation as it was offered to him, for 3 months later, days before our January transfer window opens, and he says, fuck it, I want to go to Fiorentina where I can be the head honcho. That is disrespectful, disloyal, and massive levels of a lack of gratitude. That for me is an eye-opening sort of statement of his character. And I hope it's not true. I hope that there's more to the story. But if it's literally that he doesn't think he's getting his way, and fuck it, I'm going to go to Fiorentina where I can be the big boy, then he has shown a massive lack of gratitude for us standing by him. And as far as Johan Lang goes, I don't particularly rate him either, but I'm not entirely sure why it is that Johnny absolutely just despises him. Because Johnny, you come across like he's so bad.
He's been absolutely terrible,
mate. Honestly, mate.
Both of them are, though, aren't they? Both of them are bangers.
Sean, I don't rate Paratici either. I don't know why our fans like Paratici. Between these two clowns,
he's good in Italy, but outside of Italy,
this is the squad they built.
Hang on.
This is the squad they built between the two clowns.
We had Steve Hitchin, who was probably the worst DOF ever, right?
Sure.
We've got a guy who ran Juventus for 10 years, right? You don't survive 10 years at a club like Juventus if you're dog shit, right? And he didn't just bring in Italians. He brought players in from all over the world. I'm not going to have him compared to Johan Lang, who couldn't even hold down a job at Villa.
But Johnny, this is the problem. You see what we're doing? We keep doing this with players and managers. We go, well, he's not very good, so that makes him good. We need to be looking at levels above both of them.
But
we should be up here with it.
Sava, let me tell you something, right? He won numerous awards, okay? You don't stay at Juventus, right? We're not talking about the Burnley director of football. We're not talking about the Burnley director of football. We're talking about a guy who's mixed in top circles, has top contacts, right? I don't want some fucking guy out of a... all I'm saying is there are levels.
Who has he signed that's so impressive?
Yeah, I don't know what he's done.
Right. Or I'm not going to go there if I've got a fucking.
Sorry, look, Johnny. I get it.
Look, he's made plenty of shit signings. Everyone has, Johnny, right?
Johnny, we spent the last 2 hours, to some degree, basically going. Why we are so shit. It's either all the players' fault.
Do you want to spend?
Some of us think that the manager takes some sort of level of credit of accountability here. But either way, we all agree that the squad isn't good enough. That squad has been entirely built by one of or both of those two people that are currently in charge. There is no players left over from any previous.
So do you want to spend 12 million? Do you want to spend 12 million on Papa Sarr and 15 million on Destiny Udogie and sell
65 million on Richarlison
and sell them for? Yeah, well, I'm going to give you the balance out, right? This club has consistently bought players and lost tens and tens of millions of pounds year in, year out. We've actually got assets that are worth money. Cuti Romero is worth more than we paid. Mickey van der Ven is worth more than we paid. Destiny Udogie is worth more than we paid, right? So is Papa Sarr. Yes, we have some shit. Yes, we've made some mistakes. But when you look at Brennan Johnson, 47 million, 65 million for Dom Solanke, 35 million for Matthias Tell, 25 million for Odegaard, right? Where we
again,
get...
we're doing the comparison thing, though. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying.
Paratici has Paratici signed any players that are capable of getting Tottenham to the top of the table?
But they're better players. We have not historically. We haven't sold any players for a profit in years. We've sold everyone at a loss. That's what we've historically done. I'm just saying.
I think people judging like recouping money on players. If you're a top team, most teams at the top buy players for X and sell them at some point for X minus something. Right? Like you don't often see the top 4 teams buying players and selling those players for profit.
We always sell at a loss. We've always sold at a loss. We're shit at it. Why are we always comparing?
Because we don't want to be a selling club.
Guys, can I understand, Johnny? I don't understand something. Can you explain, because everyone's jumped in. Can you just explain why you like Paratici? I just want to understand it, but I want you to put your argument across.
Come on, mate. Are you joking me?
No, tonight. Johnny, I'm not attacking you. I'm genuinely asking because the others have jumped in when you tried to speak.
Hey, we've had Steve Hitchin, the worst fucking director of football. When he got sacked, when he left Spurs, he couldn't get a job for 2 years anywhere.
I'm asking you about Paratici. No, Johnny, I get that. I'm asking you why do you defend Paratici? What is it about?
I defend Paratici. Am I saying there's no one better out there than Paratici? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to sit here and hear that Johan Lang and Paratici are comparable, right? Johan Lang reinvent and strip out that academy and say what it was. That's why Steve Hitchin left, because he ripped it out and said this is a pile of shit, right? Otherwise, we would continue. You know how bad that academy.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you. Yeah,
it was shocking. And
so it's only his academy work that you.
It's academy and some of his signings. Has he signed shit players? Yes, he's made mistakes. They all have. I'm just saying, if you're getting rid of him, bring in. I don't want a make weight. I don't want some fucking tin pot fucking person who's going to come and sign more crap, right? We want someone, if it's a Ranyak or a Campos or a Paul Mitchell, who have got credibility to bring something to this club. I'm all for it. But let's not go backwards again. That's all we've done.
I get it. So, no, Johnny, I get it. So what you're saying is you defend Paratici when comparing him to Lange and Hitchin.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm sure. Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
I think
our standards are quite low.
He's absolutely shit. I'm not even going to mix my words. Listen, for me, we're doing this thing again where we get something average and we're just going to put it on a pedestal. I don't care if he's
years at Juventus is average, though, is it?
Yeah, but funny enough, Johnny, we're not sitting here talking about Juventus. We're sitting here talking about Tottenham Hotspur, right? At the end of the day, me thinking Paratici shit isn't me comparing him with Lang. I don't want Lang or Paratici anywhere near this football club, right? But the problem is,
who are you getting?
Hang on. But this is the point. Spurs need to go out there. This is what Vinay's paid to do, right? Vinay needs to go out there and get in an Ashworth Mitchell type. He's got to.
Vinay's not good enough. Vinay's not good enough. Vinay's not good enough.
Sure, but that's a different story. My point is, if we really want to get better, guys, notice what we've done tonight and what we've done for years.
Who would you be happy with?
Hang on, Johnny. We talk about the players aren't good enough. We talk about the managers not being good enough. We talk about the directors of football not being good enough. We're talking about the people in the director positions not being good enough. But then we all wonder why we are where we are. And at some point, that's got to change. And this is what this new hierarchy was meant to do. That's what they were meant to be implementing. Because we can change manager every single year. But if we do not get some football people in at the top that actually know football and actually have a plan in place, we are going to be a mess. And if you look at what a couple of clubs, as I said, I try not to use the big clubs because it's pointless. I look at Newcastle and Villa and what they've done over the last 4 or 5 years. 2 clubs that yo-yoed for a little bit between the Championship and the Premier League.
Football they've had Newcastle 3, and they lost them all.
Yeah, and they're still struggling this year as well. They're not doing that much better than us.
Sure. But again, this is the thing. We keep talking in the moment. The point is, over the years, if you actually look at what they've built, a couple of top 4 finishes, won a trophy as well. When you actually look at their recruitment over the years, it feels like they have got a plan. Villa have got a plan of what they do. Spurs, I'm yet to understand under Paratici, under Lang, under Hitchin, under any of them, what is the plan? We go for players because they can become available, but because we've got no actual structure, because we've got no ethos or philosophy at this football club, we have no idea of knowing.
Who's your man, Safa? Who's your man? Would you be what director of football? Would you be happy with? That's what
I'd love Mitchell or Ashworth or Monchi. I'd love somebody. I tell you what, Stell's got it bang on as well. And you can tell when people in the chat don't listen. Ranić, don't like him as a manager. Ranić as a director of football.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing.
Right. Get someone like that in. Get a manager in, whoever you want to go with. I don't care. Get whoever you want to go. Bring John Smith in. Get a style of play loosely that the club want to build on with Ranić and build for the next 5 years. Doesn't mean the manager has to stay, but build something that we can all go, that's what Tottenham are. Because right now, all I hear is we're 14th, sack the manager. That's brilliant. But that manager at the moment is going to be coming into Lang, buying in footballers and no structure. So what does it really matter?
No, it's a joke.
It doesn't matter.
I'll read you out. So I'll read you out the players that Paratici brought in before Lang.
Is this like 30 players you're about to read out?
Here we go. Romero, Porro, Sarr, Kulu, Spence, Udogi, Richarlison, Bentancur, Basuma, Perisic, Forster, Royale, Longley, Danjuma, Galini, and Brian Gill.
Yeah, 3 of them were on loan, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Perisic was good, but we tried to play him as a fullback.
What was the point you were making, Lubo?
No, this isn't. That shows you that the level of players that he brought in was far better than the level of players that Lang brought in. Far better.
Perhaps a different remit was
Sure.
on.
I don't think anybody here, though, this is what makes me laugh. I don't think anybody here has actually praised Lang. Like, just because Lang is shit doesn't mean that what Paratici did. Both of them built this squad. This squad is built by those 2 alone, apart from Ben Davis. Those 2.
Look at the quality signings and the shit, right? Matthias Tell, Odeber, Solanke, Brennan Johnson, right? I'm sorry, right? Fuck me, right? We have pissed so much money down the toilet. I could have fucking done it with a pin, right? Sean and I have sat here, and the amount of players in the last 2 years that we've gone out, and I'm sure you've done it, Sava and Stel and Lubo and all of us. And we couldn't have done a worse job than what Johan Lang has done for the money, honestly and truthfully. And
I think they're getting massively overpaid for sure.
Yeah, I can't even begin to tell you. I can't even begin to tell you of the players that were recommended to the club that we have just completely dismissed. And it's embarrassing.
I don't want him at the club as much as you don't want him at the club. Yeah. Me not rating Paratici is not an endorsement of Lang. That's the thing.
I get that. But I'm saying,
who bought in Gray? Who bought in Gray and Bergvall?
Well, you know who did that.
Who bought in Odeber and Tell?
Paratici one.
Lang.
Okay, cool. But then who bought in Ritchie? Who bought in Gill? Who bought in
the day we signed Ritchie for 65 million?
It didn't
I
cost
can do-
65 million, by the way.
60, 55. The day we paid more than 10 million for Richarlison. Even though, do you know what? He's the joint fourth top goal scorer in the
He
Premier
was
League this
50
season.
million and he hasn't hit his bonuses. That's
Do,
what
do we
I'll
all
tell you.
agree? Do we all agree, whether Paratici goes or not, if Lang stays at this football club and is involved in first team signings,
We're
right,
fucked.
then I'll sit here and say again, how many watching? 1,000 people. Hire whoever the hell you want to manage the football club. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
give a shit.
mate,
Bring
shit.
in Ryan Mason, Brendan Rodgers. I don't care. If you're bringing
Brendan
in
Rodgers.
managers, hang on, look, Johnny. If you're bringing in managers to continue to work under people like Johan Lang, we might get a new kick. We might get a few places higher in the league, but nothing drastically will change unless you get a structure in place that works.
It's not going to change, Sava. Like, do you know what? People keep comparing us. Oh, look at Arsenal. Look at Arsenal. As if we're just going to copy that. As if we're just going to copy that, right? If you really look at Arsenal, the Cronkies didn't fully take over Arsenal until about 7 years ago, something like that. Fully take over, 100% shareholdings. They've got winning pedigree in the NFL, the Ice Hockey League, the Basketball League. They've got winning pedigree of taking over franchises and winning major honours. They've come to Arsenal with a winning pedigree behind them. So their structure, mate, it was a complete reset. Arteta gutted the entire team out. And when it wasn't quite working, they binned Vinay, they binned Edu, they binned the head of recruitment, and they redid that. And now they're challenging right at the top. Spurs haven't even done the first bit of bringing in a winning pedigree at the top. So
I agree.
So this is why I keep saying to many fans, not just you, Lubo, but many fans, I'm not convinced by the structure. Charrington, investment banker, all he's done is investigate Levy. Vinay, he got binned from Arsenal. Joe Lewis's kids, so what? They're not even kids. I look at it and I think, where's the change? Where's the actual structural change? Look, guys, I don't see it. That's why I'm saying I think this is going to get worse. I don't think this is going to get worse.
The Arsenal setup, by the way, all changed when the Arsenal fans marched on the head offices of Arsenal Football Club and demanded change. And Kroenke Jr. came out and said, I hear you fans. I'm here now. I'm taking over and I'm going to invest in this club. And true to his word, since that moment, they have done nothing but invest in that club. When you thought that they had
structure is good, Johnny. They've got good structure.
Yeah, but also, they have Ramsdale. Not good enough. He's good, but we can do better. Rice. Oh, but we can. We had Partey. Yeah, but we can get Rice. Oh no, but we need better. We can get Zubimendi. We've got a winger. We got Martinelli. No worries. We need Eze. We need Martinelli. Constantly trying to improve the squad and its depth. If we've got good, we want better. We don't have that ambition. We don't have that set of parameters. We go for average. We have not built this squad depth. Every single year for the last 5 years, I've had this conversation with everyone. It wasn't a bad window, but we could have done with a left centre back. We could have done with a left winger. We could have done with another this or another that. That's all I've heard for the last 5 years. The same thing.
Johnny, Harry wanted Tevez and Cahill.
We're doing this again. Let's not go back 25 years.
Sean's going to blow a gasket.
I can't hear that much anymore.
It's not about two signings. Johnny,
no,
do you know
we're always short. Sad, they always leave us short.
Yeah, I know, but the overall point Johnny made sense because it's Arsenal, right? Again, people can say they don't win anything, blah, blah, blah. But Arsenal turn around and someone went, okay, we've got Odegaard. Let's get Eze because he can compete with Odegaard. Correct. Tottenham waited for James Maddison to be injured to get someone to replace him. Right? And this was my point. In the window, we replace, we don't add. So what we always do, if 3 or 4 go out, Arsenal added. Arsenal did another keeper, Kepa, bang, second string. Arsenal got 2 top centre-halves. They go and get another 2 top centre-halves to play along, like in that 4 with them, right? I'm going to bore everyone to tears. All I want, I don't even want to be Arsenal, right? All I want is, why have we been unable? Why have we been unable to do what a Villa have done? Why? They've done nothing amazing. Why can't we do what they've done? Identify good, solid footballers and bring them in. Because you know why? We keep bringing in Greys and Bergvall and Tells and Odeberg and Valises and Yang. Hang on, Luba, let me finish. And Valise and Yang, right? And Brennan Johnson and Solankis and Richarlison's.
But you know what they did, Sava? They backed a good manager as well, though. They had a good manager and they backed him. We've never backed a good manager. Never.
Hang on. Go back and look. Hang on. Again, go back and look. That's the easy answer, but it's not the correct answer.
But that's what they've done as well.
Hang on. They started doing this before Unai Emery was in place, right? They started doing this before Unai Emery was in place. They were bringing in sensible, seasoned pros. Right? None of this messing about with let's buy 17 kids.
Look how bad they were with Steven Gerrard at the helm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you have to remember the difference between
they bought good players.
A good manager has an impact as well. Right?
They bought Moshi in and he changed it all, didn't they?
Yes, but my point is, right?
And they got rid of Lange.
For fuck's sake. My point is, you keep bringing this back to the manager, right? That's fine. I'm not talking about Thomas Frank.
It's both. It's both. It's not just the manager. It's both.
If Tottenham do not start doing this and bringing in sensible signings, all our fans, every window, we get 2 or 3 players in our heads, and they're the only 2 or 3 we want. And if we can't get them, we're shit. Right? We don't think outside the box. You name a Grealish, not good enough for Spurs. Rashford, not good enough for Spurs. Right? Conor Gallagher, not good enough for Spurs. John McGinn, not good enough for Spurs.
But Palhinha was good enough for Spurs in the summer. Now all of a sudden he isn't. Xavi was good enough for Spurs in the summer. Now all of a sudden he isn't. Kudus was good enough for Spurs in the summer. Now all of a sudden he isn't. Mawani was good enough for Spurs. You're talking about the overall argument, as am I. And Sava, with all due respect, you always say everyone brings it back to the manager. Like, you always make it about the players, right? Like, both things can be true at the same time. Like, these players, we brought in 4 first-team players. The team is far more capable than what is being delivered. There's a whole. Everyone agrees that the whole thing is an absolute shit show.
That wasn't my point.
No, but you're always making it about the players, mate. And you're looking at other. You turn to Aston Villa as the example, but look at how bad Aston Villa were when Steven Gerrard was the manager. He was the manager before. And your point a minute ago was that they started doing this before Unai Emery. Who was the guy before Emery?
Sure,
Gerrard.
But we're losing the point of what I'm saying. My point of what I'm saying is, if the club do not build this structure, right? Again, forget the fucking manager. This is what we keep doing. We keep going back. Forget the manager.
Just because you want to forget the manager, other people don't want to forget the manager.
Sure, but I'm talking about the bigger picture for once. We always talk in the moment. If we do not implement a structure, whoever the name above the manager's door is, it could be Pep Guardiola for all I care. It could be Ryan Mason. If we do not implement this structure at some stage, we are going to struggle. And I think Stel said it really well as I was just coming onto the show. For every good signing we make, it seems like there's another 2 or 3 that are bang average. And that's what happens. Now, when you look at the squad, most people will go, they're the 5 I would keep. And then we argue about the other 20 if they're good enough or not. Right? And this is the problem. We leave ourselves with 1 for every 3 being good enough. If we had good players, right? I don't care, by the way.
Players again.
Huh?
We just want the players again, right? So, like, we like the players having the conversation.
Because the players are the constant. The managers move. The
players are not the constant. What are you talking about? The players do. The players change at Tottenham more often than the manager does. We've signed like 30 players in the last 2 years. There's no constant in the players. The playing squad is the thing that changes the most.
Sean, if you look at this team, the bulk of it for the last 3 years has been the same.
That's the same because they're on a 5-year contract. That's how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said,
we went through how many players did we sign under Ange Postecoglou? Was it 22 players?
18 players. So don't say that the players. How many of them? If you go back 3 years, right? If you go back 3 years, the constant players has been Vicario, Adogi, Porro, Van der Ven, Romero, Bentancur, right? Richie, right? Son until this year. The
In a
bulk
squad
of
of
it is
25, we have changed through like all of the entire squad has changed in the last 3 or 4 years, Saba.
sure, but
More
the
so
bulk,
than most other clubs.
but the bulk of the 11 hasn't, and that is the point Lubo makes. The bulk of the 11 hasn't, right? For the last 3 years. The reason I talk about the players is because any manager can come in, right, at any football club, right? You've seen it at Man United. Man United, how many managers have they had? How many managers have Man United had, right? They bought badly.
I don't know, you're making it like Tottenham would do it differently to every other club. The average tenure of any manager, and let me finish that, but the average tenure of any manager in the Premier League is around 18 months, give or take, right? Sometimes some months it's some years it's shorter than that. Other managers get a little bit longer, but generally speaking, the average tenure of a one-term contract in the Premier League is 4 years. Most of the time, it's 5 years, especially for younger players these days.
Sure.
So when you're buying a player, those players are going to see through 2 or 3 different managers. That's not a Tottenham thing. That's a reality thing. When you say the players are the constant, the players change at Tottenham more than any other thing, as they do at any other club, because there's one manager that changes every 12, 18 months. But there's 25 or more players in the squad that change. This narrative that the players are the constant, it's just fundamentally wrong, mate. It's fundamentally wrong.
Okay, so if it's fundamentally wrong, in the last 3 years of the players I just mentioned, how many of them haven't played the bulk of the last 3 years?
What, Romero?
That's down to the manager selecting them, though, isn't it?
You look at Chelsea, you look at Fulham. There'll be players. Hang on a second. Don't get off the topic. You look at
I'm not getting off the topic.
Any team in the Premier League that signed players 4 years ago, the majority of them will still be at the same club. That's the reality of how it works. They sign them 5-year contracts.
Yes. Okay. I never said that didn't happen. But my point was, I'm talking about Tottenham. 3 years of doing this with the same players is telling a story.
No, it's not. First of all, it's not the same players. We signed 18 players in the last 2 years of Thomas Frank.
And how many of them have gone into the first team and played loads of games?
Lots of them are playing. Loads of them.
Sean.
What do you mean?
Sean.
Loads of them. I can name all in the last 2 years.
Loads of them.
Bergvall. Well, hang on. Sorry, Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson.
From Andrew's first window.
Sorry.
Since the summer. Sean, since the summer window of 23, hang on, since the summer window of 23, the only players that have come in that have gone into the first team, right, that Angie's next 3 windows, the only one that he bought to bring in straight into the first team was Solanke. Bergvall wasn't brought in.
Hang on, but they played. Bergvall was promised minutes. Don't pretend like there's like you decide whether they were intended to play or not. Bergvall came into play.
Bergvall didn't come straight into the first team. Solanke did.
That's the point.
Archie Gray played loads because we had an injury crisis. Brennan Johnson played loads of games because he was our top scorer.
Odebear was injured.
Maddison played whenever he was fit.
What are we doing here?
Came in that window in 23 still.
Dogi played whenever he was fit.
23.
Spence played when we had the injury crisis. He got quite a lot of games.
Well, hang on a minute. Remember, apparently, the guy who I don't want to talk about completely changed his career. If it wasn't for said manager, Jed Spence would be in the doghouse right now. He's completely restructured his career.
Just to summarise, the notion that the players that have been bought in the last 3 years have not been rotated through the first team is absolute nonsense. The idea that the only thing that's like the constant thing here is the players. I'm sorry, Sam. I've got no idea how that can even be possibly part of reality.
I'll let you go through the data to have a look and see that I'm absolutely right with who's
absolutely right about what the fact that like you've 25 players and we've brought in 25 players over the last 3 years, and you said none of those players are playing in the first team, and you're pretending that the squad is the constant.
Sean, the problem is
all of this is over your head.
Hang on, but most of the players.
You just don't want to talk about Sam. All you do is you say, "I don't want to hear about the managers anymore. I want to talk about the players." It's all you want to talk about is the players. Other people want to talk about the manager.
Sean, because I was talking about structure, you then went into
what you want to talk about, Saba. It's a conversation.
What if I can't finish the sentence? If I can't finish the sentence, what's the point?
I haven't spoken a fucking word tonight, Saba.
You've just asked me a question.
Can I get a word?
Cut me off.
Sorry?
Like, you cut me off. I wasn't talking. I was talking about structure. My whole point was...
We've conversed about the structure. We all know your point on it. No, come on, mate. This is a piss take. Look, Saba, you say this every time, but you don't let anyone else finish either. Every time you do this. Every single time. Like, you feel like it's a paragraph and that no one else can ever... But as soon as someone else talks, you cut them off. It's ridiculous.
You asked me a question and I was trying to answer it and then you jumped in.
We were talking about the topic of the conversation, mate. It wasn't about the overall structure. It was about... First of all, it was about whether Johan Lang should be leaving. Well, that was about 25 minutes, half an hour ago. Since then, we were talking about the players and the manager, right? You made the comment.
No, we're just having a conversation about structure and director of football. So, yes, it was about
the only constant was that the players don't change. And it's just fundamentally wrong. And then as soon as I try to explain why, you say I'm cutting you off.
It's not fundamentally wrong. In the last 3 years, as I said, in the last 3 years, right, the only real time that players have come in, been rotated, is when we've had injuries, right? The main bulk of the players that we were talking about in Angie's first season are still here now, right? We haven't changed the back line, right? The front line's got weaker, but Solanke's still, Richarlison's still here. Brennan Johnson's still here. The midfield, right, Basuma's still here. Bentancur's still here. Bergval's still here. Gray's still here. Look, my point at the beginning of this was when Johnny and I were talking about directors of football, my point was that we need to bring in a director of football that creates a structure, right?
Yeah.
That brings in players that are ready-made to go into a first team and that have character, that can fight, that are men. And we have not been buying that for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years since the Poch team. We've not bought it, right? As I said, the data doesn't lie. Over the last 4, 5, 6 years, you can look at it all you want. The trend of Tottenham Hotspur has been like this, whether we like it or not. We can pretend it's not. All the data shows it, right? We can talk all day long.
You're assuming that the trend is doing that because of the players, and it's just settled science in your mind. Like, the manager, Thomas Frank, might just be as bad as Ange Postecoglou, but you don't want to hear that.
Sure, yes, sure, that is a possibility, but the problem is as well, I think most fans, and if you ask most fans who don't support Tottenham, that use their eyes to watch Tottenham,
you should fly and fuck what most fans think.
Hang on, a lot of fans look at these players and go, yeah, these players just aren't good enough. And that's where I am. I don't look at any of our midfielders as good enough if we want to be better than what we are right now. I don't look at hardly any of the forwards and go, yeah, you're really good or you can compete for top 4, top 6. I don't. James Maddison, yes. Obviously, we know he's out injured. Right? I think Kudus, yes, when he's in a better team. Yes. All of the other forwards, for me, nowhere near good enough. Not one of the midfielders other than Paulinho, who's got a set role, are good enough. We don't have fullbacks at this club. I've seen nothing from Porro and Udogie to tell me they can actually defend. So what I've seen over the last 2-3 years from these players, that what I've seen, I can only go what I've seen with my eyes. What the data has shown is these guys lose a lot of football games. These guys can't control the ball half the time. These guys aren't creative. They're not technical. So as I've said to you, I'm not going to protect Thomas Frank. Bring in another manager if you want right now. In 6 months, what if we're back in the same position? Are we then going to be allowed to say, just maybe it might be the players that have lost 42 in 83?
Isn't that and managers of the 2 managers have also lost 42 and 83?
Of course. But how do we know then if both managers are shit? How do we know the players aren't shit? They are a massive part of this.
No, they are. But the point is, mate, is that you only want to talk about the players. You don't want your criticism of Thomas Frank starts and finishes with fine, sack him, but then what's next?
Sure,
like, that's your criticism of Thomas Frank. Other people want to say, is it possible that maybe Thomas Frank isn't all that he was sort of wrapped up to be? Sure. But you don't want to have that conversation, and it's all about the players, all about the structure. And we all agree that there's a massive issue with the entire football club. But Thomas Frank might just be massively underperforming, Ange Postecoglou might just be massively underperforming. But that conversation doesn't.
And then the second half of Conte's last season, massively underperforming. We're going back a number of managers.
We're not though. We finished 5th. He was 4th or joint 3rd, whatever, when he got sacked.
On a downward trajectory, Sean. This is the point.
How can you do a downward trajectory from 4th unless you were 1st at the start of the season? We were 4th when he got sacked.
Because
which
that
was the highest
season,
we finished since Pochettino.
Because that season, we had our best start to a Premier League campaign under Conte. And then...
Right, so it wasn't that bad then, right?
And then the results started to go like that.
No,
you know why?
Jose's was the best one. Jose got 23 from the first 10 before we beat Everton, and we.
Why did we dismiss the start of the season like it's?
Guys, can I say right?
No one's doing well when we finish badly. It's like
the
start doesn't matter.
You keep doing this. No one's dismissed it. I've said this before,
you
right?
guys do it for me, Ange Postecoglou's season as well.
We weren't. What we were saying was, right? Managers are capable of good form, right? But the players and the manager, if you want, will level out in the end. When you are losing the volume of games we lose, it shows you that when we do have those spells of good form, it is just a spell of good form. Otherwise, we wouldn't lose the sheer volume we have in the last 3 seasons.
So, can I say one thing on this? Sure, can I say one thing on this?
There's no narrative.
Sure, Saba, you know when you say downward trajectory,
39%, 35%, 28%. What are we not seeing in that?
Saba, one second. I just want to say one thing. You know when you say downward trajectory, personally, I think we went on a very downward trajectory after Ange's first season. And I'll tell you why. That first season, we finished 5th. That was a good first season. Yes, he only had 1 game a week because we were out. We weren't in Europe.
Yeah.
At least about games in 17 years.
The same fans who are saying, "Oh, Amrim's now turning it around." Well, he's not in Europe. He's not in Europe now. So I think it's fair to say, in my opinion, last season under Ange in the league and this season under Frank so far in the league, this is when it's been really shit. I think before last season, I think it's been okay. We've been all right. It's the last season and a half for me, really. I would say this is really falling apart. Really.
Still, hang on. But sure, if we're going to do that, then you have to look. If we're going to praise Ange's first 10 games, after
the first season because he finished 5th.
I understand that still. But my point is, if we're going to praise periods of time, we have to berate the other periods of time.
Oh, no, Sava, I'm not praising it. No, Sava, 1 minute. I'm not praising it. I'm saying I don't think the downwardness really began until after his first season when he had to go to 2 games.
If you look at the data again,
Chelsea,
it really did. If you, Lubo, do you remember we did this?
You say that, but where did we finish in the league before Ange got here?
No, I know, but
hang on. We finished 8th.
Exactly. So he took us to 5th.
Right. Conte took us to 4th with 9 or 10 games to go. Stellini and Mason cocked it up completely. And with those 2, we dropped from 4th to 8th. First 10 games.
Manager influence, Lubo, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
So from 8th, Ange took us to 5th. That's upwards.
Okay.
Sure.
Hang on. Still, wait a minute.
The trajectory was down.
Right. We've gone from 4th to 8th. Ange had his 10. Ange did brilliantly in his first 10 games. He was top after 10 games.
He didn't do badly after those 10 games.
He did.
After that.
From 1st to 5th isn't bad.
No. Okay. Right. Still, yes. 1st to 5th. Right. Hang on. 1st to 5th is not bad, considering we were punching above our weight in first anyway.
Look how many losses after Chelsea.
The overall trend after the 10 games, still, we got 40 points out of 84. So if you take away the first 10, then just doing it on a trend, not on league positions, but on a trend, we were 12th. The following season, we're 17th, and now today we're 14th. If you take it from the beginning of last season to today, we have won 17 out of 55, and we have lost 29.
Yeah, but that massive drop from 50 to 17.
That is a massive drop.
Right, but that massive drop from 5th to 17th is where I would look at the trend beginning, because Ange got the blame for all of that. Ange took the full blame for that, not the players. It was Ange's fault. Ange got ripped. Even I ripped him. We all ripped him, saying, "Get him out. We need a proper coach." He doesn't know how to defend.
And we were right.
Right. So therefore, it's not the players wholly, is it? It's the manager has some impact. Surely, that's what Sean's saying.
Yes,
All I'm saying.
correct. It's correct. It's partly the managers, but at the end of the day, it's mainly the players, because the players.
It's mainly the players.
No. Listen, the player. Listen. At the end of the day, we can all agree between 2019 and 2025, the recruitment's been shit. We brought in 2 winners after Poch, and after that, we've got pretty much 2 losers in Ange and Frank. And
I think as well. Can I say as well? Last season and this season, we've had the 2 worst injury seasons we've had on record. Ange had a horrific injury record season, partly his fault. Frank has had a pretty bad injury record as well to deal with. So I think that plays a role, isn't it?
Yeah, different injuries, not hamstring. The hours.
If Kulu, Madison, and Solanke were fit, guys, I think everyone would say I think we'd be a little bit high.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yes.
I don't know.
Or
man.
if we weren't, then the manager should take more accountability. But apparently, there's only 2 factions of like sort of debate. It's the players are shit. It's not on Frank, or there's some people that think that
But no
Frank
one
is
said
more
it's not on
responsible.
Frank.
I'm not saying that.
No one said it's
Some
not on
people
Frank.
don't talk about Thomas Frank because it doesn't. They don't want that conversation to go in that direction.
Sean, if you're going to say me, just say me, mate. I'm right here on screen.
Just you,
It's
mate.
fine.
You're part of it, but there's a lot of people that do it. Like, the narrative is it's the players.
I've not said
Okay,
that.
fine. Okay, I'm not married to Thomas. If he goes, he goes.
But Brian
You
Daigle
don't
very
penalise
much.
Thomas Frank's
Brian Daigle's
managerial
very
capabilities.
Massive. Brian Daigle's a massive Thomas Frank fan. Look, I'm a Thomas Frank fan, right? I've watched him for years. I never expected this type of form, never expected this, right? I held my hand up. I put my head above the parapet. I spoke about it. So I've got to be prepared to take the flak. If he gets sacked, so be it. Do I hope he's successful and turns it around? 100%. Whoever is the manager, whoever is the player, I'm happy to be proved wrong. I'm happy for them to go on. But I think it's a whole amalgamation of things that are wrong with this club. It's not just the manager. It's not just the player. It's the hierarchy. It's the hiring. It's the recruitment. It's the medical team. It's the management. It's the whole kit and caboodle. And if we only identify one thing as the thing that's wrong, we're pissing up the wrong tree, basically.
We can all agree on that. We can all agree on that 100%. Guys, let's finish up. We've been going for far longer than we were supposed to. Appreciate everyone. Fiery show tonight. Last couple of super chats. Big up to you guys. Adrian Cockrell says Sean has hit the nail on the head. Signed far too many players of equal quality to what we have. We should be signing 2 or 3 quality players a season. I think from now on, I think that Spurs need to be 60, 65, 70 and above. Yeah. No more kids. Appreciate you, Adrian. Thank you very much. Levy gone. All of Enoch next says Sava likes to call out our shit players and fans accepting crap at the club, but he simps for Frank. Sava, I'll let you have a chance and crack on that one.
Well, I love this. I love this notion of simps for Frank. I don't know how many times I can say sack the bloke.
Keep saying him.
Like I keep saying it. Sack him. Brilliant. All I keep asking for, I'll call it out if I can be, for dickheads that write stupid shit like simp for Frank, right? Sack him. Fine, sack him. Who you bringing in tomorrow? And I'll tell you what, that if that bloke can come on again, right? Please put another comment in. Don't pay. You tell me who you're bringing in. Where does he finish right now? Right? Because if people actually listen to what's being said, the first thing I said when I came onto this show, we have issues with the manager, the players, the directors of football, the scouting, the owners. There are loads of issues here, but people don't listen to it. Sack Thomas Frank all you bloody want. I've just hit a brick wall. Nothing's going to change. Bigger picture. And no one can give me a name. No one can tell me a name and why it changes.
It doesn't. Guys, can I just say, if you're watching on the we got loads of people that are watching. We're trying to grow the channel. Loads of you watch, but loads of you don't bother subscribing. It doesn't cost you any money. Just hit the subscribe button, guys. We're trying to get up to 30,000. We're on our way, but you got to hit the subscribe button. We're giving you great content. What more do you want? Hit the like.
Fiery show tonight. super fiery show.
Fiery,
Also,
fiery.
thank you to everyone who listens to our podcast, because that's actually growing. It's growing on a weekly basis. So thank you very much to all the podcast listeners out there.
And thanks very much, guys. We couldn't do it without you. And it's coming up to Christmas. We hope you have a fantastic Christmas. No doubt we'll be back. Are we back? We're not obviously here on Thursday. Are we there for the after the Palace
Monday.
game?
Next Monday, 29th.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun.
Okay.
Appreciate everyone.
That'll be fun.
Let me do this last 1 second, quickly. Just to me, this last one. Marios, 1964. Big up to you, Marios. Thank you very much indeed. He says now Levy's agents fee restriction has been removed. We should get the high quality players, the teams, the players, the team so desperately needs.
Love it.
I hope so, Marios. But listen, like I feel like I fight this fight myself, but I don't think that it's just about the money. I think it's about the draw. But no one seems to agree with me that there's other things outside of Tottenham that might be responsible for why you.
We're not the draw anymore.
That's true.
Sean, can you bring up the screen?
Sponsor, guys. Don't forget our sponsor, OK Jersey.
Yeah, big up to them. Search for OK Jersey and go get yourself some January sales, 8% off at checkout. Sav, you wanted to say something quickly there?
I just want to say, do people want football conversation, or is it just always going to be point scoring? It just gets so tedious and boring going. But you said this about Ange last year. Guys, I said, I've hit a brick wall. I've hit a brick wall with it. I'm bored of the manager merry-go-round now, right? I'm bored of it. That's where I'm at. The point scoring is ridiculous. You said this, you said that, you said that. I'm so fucking bored of it. The bigger picture. Our fan base has no bigger picture.
If we're talking about point scoring, just before we go, how do you think the points went tonight?
Oh, wait, yeah.
So if you could bring up the table, which is sitting in the, there we go. So this is what happened, right? So congratulations to Johnny. He got a point because he predicted a win to Liverpool. You said 3-2. You said 3-2, so you get a point. Lubo, you predicted 2-2, so you get nil point. Sean and Stelios both said 2-1 Liverpool, so we get 3 points each. And there you go. There you go.
Listen, the guys at top at Christmas usually top at the end of the season. Just, you know.
Can I say there's a team that wears red that's top at Christmas very, very often called Arsenal, who always end up second. Just saying.
And they're top at Christmas as well, Sean. So
they always end up second. They always end up second.
Have a very Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
Don't eat too much turkey. And if you're going to the ex-wife for Christmas, better check the turkey before you eat it. You never know. You never know. I've just said
massive thank you to Sava. He's just dropped off, I think.
Thanks, Sava.
Yeah, big up to Sava. Big up to you guys, Lubo, Stel, Johnny. Great show this evening. Big up to the chat. Big up to the very generous super chats as well. Loads of you. Ian JD coming in at the end there with this club is not set up for any managers to succeed.
Agreed.
Has been. Yeah. It's been that way now. It's been that way for 25 years.
So, has it, Lubo?
By the way, in case you haven't noticed,
what a load of shit to end on. I think I you the last word and you fucked it.
A week ago, Lubo promised that the Lubo files would be removed, but they're still there.
They will be over Christmas.
They haven't been released yet.
They will be over Christmas.
The Epstein files being released than the Lubo files.
No, nothing
Appreciate
like
that. Thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate you, Lubo, Johnny, and Stel.
See you later, guys.
Thanks,
Jeff. Hi, Jeff, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
And here's the 3 points next weekend.
Do we do predictions?
1 minute.
Oh, predictions.
Let's do predictions because we're not here on Thursday. Go on.
What's it for Palace?
Oh, what? We got no Romero and we got no Xavi, so should be a walk in the park, right?
Apparently, Palace always don't.
I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs.
Palace have got a game today or tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow. In the
Tuesday. Yeah. I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs.
Still, that didn't make any difference with Forest, did it, the other week?
No.
So, yeah, Lubo, what's your prediction?
1 apiece.
1-1. Sean?
You can afford not to copy me now, Sean, because you're 4 points clear.
Mate, as if I would ever copy you, Lubo. Come on now. I'm going to go for. I'm only joking. I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for 2-1 Palace.
So, spoken like a Tottenham fan.
Mate, I got a Premier League table to protect me.
I get it. We'll
Managing the season. I'm managing the
see
season.
how our predictions did on the Football Link tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going 1-1. I agree with you, but I'm going 1-1.
Okay, guys. Look
Appreciate
forward
you all.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers,
Thanks
guys.
for the support. Bye. Bye.
Bye, Jeff.